What is going on, everybody? We're back.
We are back.
The whole crew is here.
Minus Jesse and Lauren, sadly.
Oh.
But we do have the majority of the crew, and I'm very excited for today's one. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Stepping it up
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
We are.
Okay, here's the thing, everybody. A lot of us are either hungover or have had no sleep or a combination of both. So it's going to be a real interesting time.
It's going to be
today.
a fun time.
Plus, we're also going to be drinking more during the show. So that's what you're...
Not like last week, though. I do.
Not like
I do
last week. No,
have
I have
to
my
apologize to anyone, the Zaddy community, if they felt made fun of or anything. It was.
I fully plan on continuing the Zaddy conversation with you this week.
It'll be a different one. It'll be a different one sober. I came in at like a 4 out of 10 last week, and I'm at a 0 today, so we should be much more manageable.
Sounds like we need double the length of the show.
I think we need level 11, Dan.
Yeah.
I think that's all that this tells me.
Yeah. We need convinces me to buy DVDs on eBay during the show, Dan Merle.
Yeah.
That was very that was yeah.
That was a joint operation.
Team effort, yeah.
Yeah, it was a team.
So we also have Mara cooking. We've got the Mara cooking show plus bracket show. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. It's
You got to
gonna
pay
be
double
a great
for that
time.
kind of action.
Yeah.
2 for the price of 1, people.
Yep. Well, guys, we're doing the second bracket today, and we're going to do 2 rounds of it. So I think we should get this one.
Let's do
kick
it.
this one off.
Let's do it.
There's going to be a lot of anger today, most likely. So
Cool.
this is going to be a lot of fun.
Cool.
All right, let's start off with The Mask of Zorro versus Ant-Man. Robert, I'm going to start with you.
I like both of these movies. I think Zorro is innovative and really special, and just has that sort of Indiana Jones-esque, just campy adventure vibe, and it's just a really fun watch. That being said, I think Ant-Man is one of the most underrated MCU movies. I really, really like Ant-Man. I love how it's the heist movie built in. I love Michael Douglas. Baskin Robbins is one of the funniest things in any MCU movie. Ultimately, I think I'm going to go Ant-Man. There's some stuff in Mask of Zorro that doesn't age the greatest. He's cutting clothes off of people and chaining people to cactuses, and there's Anthony Hopkins playing a Spaniard, and just there's some questionable things in Mask of Zorro, even though I really like it. Ant-Man, I think, doesn't get as much recognition as it deserves, so I'm going to go for that one.
Taylor, I'm going to go to you.
Oh, cool. I wasn't ready for that.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think Mask of Zorro has its moments, but I'm not it's a fine movie to watch. My headphones are yelling at me already, so that's cool. I'm gonna need to change that battery in a second. But look, this isn't really a dilemma for me. I enjoy both movies. I think they have an element of fun to both of them, but if I'm going to choose one to put on, I'm going to put on Ant-Man. So there you go.
Okay. Adam, I'm going to go to you next.
Thank you, Jacob. So The Mask of Zorro, fun thing about that is I only saw that more recently, so it was interesting not to have a lot of years under the belt with that one, any sentimentality or anything like that. But what I really, really liked about it is how it feels like it could have come out pretty much in any era. And yeah, I do agree with Robert that parts of it are outdated. Some of those things I think are incidental. Some of them I think are by design. Hey, at least they put Anthony in eyeliner, Robert, right? He does look good in eyeliner. And I've always felt that after seeing this, I feel like Jack Sparrow may have stolen that a little bit. I know he gave Keith Richards credit, but I like the look of the film. I like the way they balance the humor with the action. I like how, unlike in Legend of Zorro, they let Antonio Banderas' hair be normal. We've discussed that. I won't belabor the point, but it's important. And just when you talk swashbuckling adventure, the film encapsulates that beautifully. It's practical action, practical effects, genuinely fun dialogue. I'm very, very partial to Ant-Man, actually. I think it's a very fun movie. I was very skeptical about it. Paul Rudd really won me over with this. Partial to Scott Lang's, plight. I'm sensitive, to his storyline as a dad. So I really like his relationship with Cassie. So it's hard for me too, because I think Ant-Man is quite good. But I also look at the grand scale of the Mask of Zorro, and even though it's a more recent watch for me, I can contextualize it, and I think it was one of the last great gasps of that genre that we've seen for a long time. So it has my vote by a slight edge over Ant-Man.
Marisol.
Yeah, I'll just get to the point of who I'm picking. I am picking Mask of Zorro, and because I think it is similar to what you're saying, Adam. It is a timeless film. It is a very rare bird, even in the modern era filmmaking. It's a definitive example in modern filmmaking of a classical adventure, and captures so much. It's a rare breed in the landscape of today, more so, and that allows it to stand out, I think, in the pack and amongst its respective genre more than Ant-Man does. I think that Mask of Zorro is a more unique film. I think it has more legs and universal appeal, and I think timelessness than Ant-Man does. And I think it's I'm not, whitewashing is something that we've become very sensitive, has entered the conversation a lot more in films. That's a much more modern conversation that we have. But I also it's Hollywood, and it's a Hollywood production. And I also really think it really matters in regards to, I take into effect, looking back at some of these films, especially a film from 23 years ago like this, is that it matters if it's egregious or offensive. I think the extent to which you're whitewashing in some films. And Catherine Zeta-Jones and Anthony Hopkins are excellent in this film, and they are, and I am swept in the adventure. I still feel the respect, and it's a venerable film. It's made with mountains of respect and incredible production design, and an earnestness that is, again, something very rare. I cannot say enough great things about Mask of Zorro. I think it has endured, and I think it will continue to endure. And I think that its uniqueness deserves for it to move forward over Ant-Man.
The score is great too. I meant to say that.
Holy crap, the score.
Dan, I'm going to go to you next.
Well, I would like to fact check. I do think that ants have more legs than Antonio Banderas, but that aside, this is a very interesting matchup. Martin Campbell has one of the most interesting careers of any director. Just the breadth of what he's done, good and bad, is pretty crazy. I remember really digging Mask of Zorro when it came out. I was 15, and it was quite an adventure. I mean, I think I saw it 2 or 3 times in theaters. Mara just came running in. She's putting a glass down, and she's running out. You'll see her on the other cam shortly. It's like Scream. It's a great adventure. I will say, though, I'm kind of with Robert. I'm very partial to Ant-Man, and I think it's one of those movies that's not very high up on many people's MCU lists. I quite enjoy it, and I didn't really come in expecting a whole lot out of it. I was a little sore over the whole Edgar Wright thing, so I kind of came in a little well, let's see how you do without Edgar Wright. It's I actually really, really liked that film. I think that it showed a sense of, well, for me, Age of Ultron, what got so deep into the Marvelness of it all, and going into Ant-Man, it stepped back from that, and you have this sense of self-awareness and an ability to laugh at yourself, which I think was one of the biggest problems with Age of Ultron, was that it took things so seriously. We talked about this last week. I really like Ant-Man, and it's close, but I think the one thing that puts me over is that Ant-Man generated the best promo. We were doing it this morning. The best promo for any movie ever, which is Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas going, ants. Ants. Ant-Man. Oh, it's so good. My vote goes to Ant-Man.
It's the best thing.
All right. I will go to Mara last.
What's up? How you doing? Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to pick. I am going to go with the Mask of Zorro, and the reason I'm going Mask of Zorro is the chemistry between Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones is we don't get that in movies anymore, and we don't get that in especially our big budget Hollywood movies, and that's great. And so I kind of just their chemistry alone is the thing that really elevates this movie into just absolute steaming off the screen. So I am going to vote for Mask of Zorro for that reason. All right, Mara, you've got the deciding vote.
Oh, I have the power. This is actually really tough. I do really love both of these movies. However, I won't belabor the point partially because I ran up and down the stairs and I'm making food. I am much, much higher on Ant-Man than a lot of other people are. I love the heist element. I like that it's trying to do some more genre blending like Winter Soldier did, RIP. And I acknowledge all of the positive and even the cultural criticisms of Zorro, but it is such a romp. It is fun. I love revisiting it. But it's just a personal preference thing. The movie, if I had to pick right now, like, hey, we're going to watch a movie after we finish the bracket show, I'm going to pick Ant-Man.
All right. Well, with that, Ant-Man makes it through, and we say goodbye to the Mask of Zorro.
For the record,
That's a difficult
It's a
matchup.
tough
I
one.
would have
That's a
been.
tough
I
one.
would have been okay with either of those winning.
Same.
Okay, that's. I think that's. I like that one.
Hey, by the way,
All
have you ever heard of the movie Womb?
It's waiting for me in my mailbox when I get back home. So
Paul Rudd shrinks in it.
Is that the prequel Into the
Go
Womb?
to the next one.
Yeah.
Into the Womb.
Oh God! All right. Next up, we have. Oh God! Oh, we're going to further this conversation. That's going to be fun. All right. Next up, we have Deadpool versus Split. Dan, I'm going to start with you.
I'm a defender of the whole M. Night Eastrail trilogy of films. I like them all, including Glass, which I think we might have talked about last week. I'm a little hazy on that.
yeah,
Not
Howard
entirely
Duck
sure.
made it. Remember that
It wasn't
conversation?
I think that James. I think that when we talk about genre bias and movies that awards deem are quote unquote worthy, and movies that awards deem aren't worthy, I think that Split is a great example, because I think that James McAvoy should have been considered for awards for that film, and he was never even on the radar because it wasn't considered the kind of movie that is worthy of consideration. I think that James McAvoy is brilliant in that movie.
Didn't it come out in January?
And
too?
it came out early in the year.
Yeah.
That also didn't help. I would probably take Split over a lot of stuff in the bracket. However, it's round 2. The matchups are harder, and Deadpool is it's so rare to see someone actually be able to make their passion project. And the fact that Ryan Reynolds had this role and it didn't go the way that anybody wanted it to, and he was so passionate about this character that he just persisted. And I'm not saying he ordered the code red of putting the Deadpool footage out on the internet, the leaked footage, but I think he was in on it. I think it was an inside job. I think he definitely knows who did. But like I've said it in reviews before, you can just tell when someone is passionate about a role that they're playing. They just bring a little something extra to that role. And that first Deadpool movie, I like them both, but the first one especially is so sharp and funny, and it just hit at the exact right time, and the jokes work. I really, really like that movie. The fact that they sort of had a budgetary limitation and just said, screw it, we're going to point it out and just roll with it. It's really, really, really good. So It is with regret that I do have to vote against Split, but I am a fan of that movie, and particularly James McAvoy. I think he's brilliant in that film.
Adam.
Yeah, so Deanne, Howard the Duck beat Glass. Remember that chat?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna come back in chunks.
Yeah.
So I just want to get that one out of the way early. But yeah. that happened. But Split, I like Split better than Glass. I think Split's a really solid movie. And I was, like most people, managing my expectations going into this movie. It can be a real crapshoot with Shyamalan, as we know. But this one really surprised me in all the right ways. McAvoy's performance is great. And I like the escalation of what we realize this character is capable of. That's a very interesting angle. Deadpool was the fulfillment of a very long promise that people wanted to see. And the thing that was so fun about it is how organic it felt by the time it released, because of everything Dan said, but also just because Deadpool himself was evolving in the zeitgeist while people were waiting for this movie. And he became this incredibly dominant character in comic books because you could do anything with him. And, you look up some of the best comics, like the ones that come to mind, Deadpool versus Thanos is a great run of comics, which I would love to see that Marvel What If, and then Deadpool and Carnage had a run together, which was pretty amazing and hilarious and incredibly violent. And so for the movie to finally come out and really encapsulate this character on screen in the most fun way. I saw that at a sold out midnight premiere, had a really good time. And I agree that the second one is not quite on the level, but I just think Deadpool is a very rewatchable movie. I think it gets to all the reasons why we love comic book movies in the first place, but it takes it to another level. It satirizes it while also keeping it like having a genuinely interesting plot, fun action, and you care about Wade. At least I do very much. So yeah, Deadpool is my vote just because I rewatch it more. But Split is upper echelon Shyamalan for sure. I vote for Deadpool.
Taylor.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because Split, I went into having no idea what I was going into. Like, I just went into it as its own movie, not actually knowing anything about what it was. And I really, really enjoyed it. I was very angry leaving the movie because I'm like, McAvoy should get awards for this movie, and because of when it came out and what it is, it's not going to happen. So I'm just mad at the movie, like, already immediately. That was my reaction because he's great in it. His performance, despite what you may think of the story or the actual movie, his performance is insane. It's on another level, and the fact that it never got acknowledged for any sort of awards is a crime, but that's a whole other tangent that I could go on. Deadpool, like everyone else has been saying, the fact that it actually came to be is just extraordinary. Whatever kind of conspiracy theory you want to believe of how in on it he was or wasn't, or what actually happened, to get it greenlit, it's just a wonderful thing that got willed into existence, basically. And I really enjoy it. The first Deadpool is a movie that I love a lot. Second movie makes me sad, but the first movie is everything we could have hoped it could be. So this one's actually very tough for me because I love them both for different reasons. I think I'm gonna have to go Split on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
May I interrupt and just show my greatness?
Yes.
Sure.
Always.
That was
Miniature apple pies
wow.
It looks
with
so
ice
good.
cream
Looks very good.
and stabilized whipped cream, all homemade.
Looks very, very good.
It looks
And-
amazing.
Well, we're gonna sit here and watch. This is good stuff.
And I think
That
Just
is now the
ask,
show.
Mike and Shannon, you definitely want to stay in the same house as me.
Yeah.
Very much.
Oh yeah.
Very, very much looking forward to that. Marisol, I'm going to go to you next.
Okay. Split is, I think that Split is certainly M. Night Shyamalan's strongest movie of the 2010s. And I think it was a return to form. It is a pretty engaging film, and seeing him really get control of his craft again was very refreshing. And having a strong sense of atmosphere and narrative control over his film, in which it wasn't getting bogged down by poor dialogue or lofty ideas, or you know, it was more minimalist in the best way. Oh,
Kitty.
And I think that it deserves a lot of credit for that. Anya Taylor-Joy is a solid anchor for that, for the, I guess, avatar, whatever you want to call it, for the audience. And I completely agree about McAvoy. He's spectacular in it. Always loved chances for McAvoy to really flex his acting chops, and he gets a chance to do it absolutely in Split. I do think the only part that starts to stretch a little bit is the reveal at the end, and I think the third act ends up always being the weakest part of the film for me, but not a derailment. Split has a lot of pros going for it. Deadpool edges it out for me, because Deadpool is just such a perfect, this is for someone who I didn't grow up reading Deadpool. I don't have any attachment to the character from childhood or anything, but I was aware of him in pop culture, aware of his role and his kind of his general angle, his Merc with a mouth angle, but I had never really absorbed any Deadpool media. So the movie was my real first dose of really absorbing a story revolving around him, and it just kicks so much ass. It kicks so much ass. It is a perfect. I love these perfect marriages of like a passion project of an actor and a character. And Ryan Reynolds' fits Wade Wilson to a T. It's just such a beautiful marriage of actor and character. And this movie's hilarious. It works in being an origin story. It works in being a superhero story. I love superhero stories that are small scale stories that don't have to end up with a giant explosion or the world getting blown up or any of those things, because those also wouldn't be true to Deadpool. And it's so fitting to the character and so fitting to the self-absorption, how self-absorbed this character is. But how endearing that is and why you love it anyway. I think this movie just nails and made it really clear to me what this character is about, and in the best kind of irreverent, still full of heart, irreverent and not a turn off of or too mean spirited, irreverent but absolutely charming as all get out, charming as hell. And Deadpool, both are good movies, but Deadpool has some strengths that Split, some highs that Split can't touch. So Deadpool.
All right. Robert.
Sorry, one sec.
That's all right.
There was a little bit of poison in that. Sorry, Robbie.
Almost there.
It's like when the
understand if you
person
need to
comes over
think
to your
about what
table
you
and
need
asks
to
if you
Okay.
need anything, and you've just taken an
Yeah.
enormous bite.
Sorry, I was trying. I was going. Okay, which one doesn't look like they've just taken something to eat?
I'm good now. So yeah, both these movies are really good. I think I might be in breach of contract here, because I am going to vote for Deadpool, but I do think that my contract says that I can't vote against anything Haley Lu Richardson is in, because she's like incredible. Even just the couple scenes she has in this movie, I think she is such a great foil for Anya Taylor-Joy's character. I think, like Dan said, McAvoy is just off the charts, insanely good. It may not be the most perfectly accurate depiction of DID, but it doesn't matter. He just brings so much to the role that it works. So yes, the Split's really, really great. But Deadpool just was a breath of fresh air. I mean, in February of 2016, this was, post Avengers, post Age of Ultron, those movies where the MCU might have been in some ways starting to get a little bit stagnant. We were about to see BVS. It was a different time in superhero movies, and this came out and was just so unique, and every single joke works. Ripley from Alien 3, it's like the studio couldn't afford to hire another X-Man, or fake laugh hiding real pain, or just everything. Don't make the super suit green or animated. Just everything works in this movie. Everything works in Deadpool. And the thing nobody has brought up yet is the romance. I mean, how many times have we seen, not just in superhero movies, but in movies, just no chemistry and lackluster? Why are you cheering for this couple? And the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Marina Baccarin is insane. It's so good. You were rooting for them every step of the way. Like Marisol said, you don't need the universe to implode as your stakes. Your stakes can be these two people who are so perfect for each other, who have been so broken their whole lives. Like, you want them to come back together. And it keeps its grounded stance, and it's just Deadpool is amazing. Everything works in that movie. I don't think there's a single joke that doesn't land for me. Gotta go Deadpool.
Mara.
You did that thing again.
I know. Sorry.
It's hard when all three of you are eating at the same
I'm
time.
almost
And
done.
you're the only three who haven't. Oh, so
Almost
it's
done.
the last one who hasn't gone.
You got Marisol eating raw granola out of a bowl because she's got nothing.
I've got FOMO. Like, I've got
Yeah.
like such extreme FOMO. And
I had my granola
You want
earlier.
to talk
I
for?
got a bowl of dry ass granola.
Granola and whiskey, mind you.
With a couple chocolate chips in it.
It's
so I
a
was like,
perfect combination.
I'm
Perfect.
yum. I'm enjoying this so much too.
So clearly, Deadpool is sailing through this, and I'm not at all upset about it. But I'm going to give my love to Split and my vote, just because it's two very, very different things. I mean, Deadpool is good. I don't think that just because something is funny means that it's less, that you're demonstrating less talent, because I think that it's very, very difficult to do comedy. We're lucky that Ryan Reynolds was tailor-made to just be himself and then wear a superhero suit. We're very, very lucky for that. But Split is just a whole new level of commitment, dedication, embodying other people. Yes, not the most accurate portrayal of DID, but movies are meant to heighten reality, not show reality, or else they'd be fucking boring. But I'm not mad about Deadpool. I'm thrilled. I can't wait to see what it goes up against. But I want Split to make sure that it has at least someone giving it a vote. So I'm gonna give it its pity vote.
I am, with my final vote, I am going to go pick Deadpool as well, just because I agree with you that...
Jill, we love you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jill, for the shout-outs. I do really enjoy Split. I think Split is a really great movie, but that first Deadpool was just so unique and different and such a breath of fresh air. If it had been Deadpool 2... this is a very easy no contest, but with the first Deadpool, it's just such it's just such a great film. I am going to pick Deadpool to make it through. All right. So with that, Deadpool makes it through. All right. Next up,
View
layer.
Crew
A layer
raid
show.
is the best kind of raid
Yep.
ever. So thank you to every View Crew person who has come to join the stream.
All right. And with that, Deadpool does make it through.
All right. What do we got? What's
All
next?
right. Next up, we have Beneath the Planet of the Apes versus Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Marisol, I'm going to start with you as a fellow Potterhead.
What am I going to pick?
I can take it down.
I'm gonna pick the one with the big hairy giant who's not an ape, but is indeed Gorp. And I'm gonna pick Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix because this is my chance to say that this is one of them. I guess I have some kind of, we usually have some contrarian views with other Potter fans. This is an underrated Potter film to me. I think this was one of the ones that was the critics were a little harder on this one than the others. When this one is not only one of my favorite books, I think one of my favorite films in the series, and I think it captured. It was our first outing with David Yates, and I think he's hit or miss with these Wizarding World films, but this is absolutely one of his hits. and I think he captured a lot of the new direction. He was a right hand to take us into the last swing of this series, like really get to the meat and potatoes of the series. And I really like this film. I do think some of the emotional impact is lost towards the end in terms of deaths of certain characters. But in this film, we get the greatest wizard duel in the whole series, which is the Dumbledore-Voldemort duel at the Ministry of Magic, which is spectacular, furious, fast, and flawless, and really badass. And it's what you love to see as a Potter fan. The actors are all absolutely coming in to their own, and this is the first film where the three of them are given, really, especially Daniel Radcliffe, is just given more to do, and actually the film relies on not just a spectacle, but really is relying more on his chops as an actor to bring a lot of the angst and what Harry is going through, and a lot more of the scenes in this film than ever before. And the series really relied on that, and I just want to talk about Harry Potter. So Order of the Phoenix.
You just did.
I just did. Damn it, I just did.
Did a hell of a job.
Order of the Phoenix needs to get a little more respect. I think in the scheme of things, it seems to be the one that gets put the lower ranked Potter film when it is personally one of my favorites.
It is my favorite Harry Potter film, and
Cheers.
It's my favorite Harry Potter film because it's kind of the last hurrah of this is the school franchise. Like, this is essentially the schoolboy franchise, and it's the last hurrah before we go, no, we're now getting into the serious life and death stakes of the story, and it's the last one that really does, because the death of Cedric in the last one, which we will talk about in a bit, is a big moment, obviously, but then we get the ramifications of it in this movie. We don't really get the impact that has on Harry in the last movie. We get it here, and then obviously we get the death of Sirius in this one. So I think that this is the one that really showed people that really grew the franchise up, and I really do love that. Plus, Imelda Staunton was absolutely robbed of an Oscar nomination, because she is easy. Like, everyone says Alan Rickman deserves an Oscar nomination, and he did, but this is the one that really, really deserved the Oscar nomination. I will always be mad that she wasn't nominated, because she is incredible in this movie and absolutely just an awful human being. So this is my favorite of the Harry Potter films, so it is definitely making it through for me. Mara, I'm going to go to you next.
This would appear to be a tough choice, considering that I'm one of the people that cherishes the original 5 Apes films, and I love Harry Potter. However, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, I forget what it was up against, but it must have been a real piece of shit, because Beneath is easily the weakest of the original films, like objectively the weakest. And I love Order of the Phoenix. I agree with everything Marisol said. I do think that it's kind of looked at in an underrated way, and I think that it's also that way amongst more casual Potter fans. All of the people I know that are real diehard Potterheads all really love this movie, so I think maybe that says something. But oh look, Robbie's back. But yeah, it's Order of the Phoenix hands down.
It did go up against something. I can't remember what it is. I'm looking that up now, but it did, because I can remember. I do remember having this exact conversation as well, but because I know you voted for it. So, Dan, jump to you next.
You know, I've always thought you had great taste, Jacob, and it's only confirmed here because Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is also my favorite Harry Potter movie, and I don't know why it's so often ranked so low when people talk about them. I think that it is the hinge on which it all turns. I mean, you start that turn in Goblet of Fire, but like really the turning point, you know, I love just like culminating with he's back at the end of this. And then from there, it's a descent into hell, you know, to the next 3 movies. And I really, really like this movie. It's where Daniel Radcliffe in particular also showed that he was really capable of going into the depths. I think there was maybe a little bit of worry that, like, hey, can he handle where this is going or where we think that it's going? It may also have something to do with the fact that like I jumped into the Harry Potter series at Order of the Phoenix. Like I caught up, and then Order of the Phoenix was the first one that I like.
You mean books?
The books, yeah.
Oh, sure.
The Harry Potter book series. Like the Order of the Phoenix was the first one that was like I went and got it at midnight. I stayed up and read the thing, you know, and so I have a soft spot for it as well. But I really, really like that movie, and I think part of it is. I mean, I think some of the hardcore Harry Potter fans love this book, but I also think, much like a couple of the other ones, they see what's not in it. They're like, well, but this wasn't in it, and this wasn't in it, and this wasn't in it, and they're looking at what's not there versus what is there, and I understand that when you have these things in the books that you love, but I've always loved Order of the Phoenix. I think it's really efficient. It moves fast, but not too fast. And that final duel, I mean, I just love the glass and the flame, and he turns it into sand, and then I love that movie. I don't know what Beneath the Planet of the Apes was up against. I think it is. I won't even say it's the worst of the new Planet of the Apes film the original Planet of the Apes films. I think it's the worst Planet of the Apes film, period. And I'm including Tim Burton's here. I really don't care for that film. So
I just looked up what it went up against. We could have had a Wizarding World on Wizarding World. It went up against Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah.
I would have picked Crimes of Grindelwald over that one, and that's saying something.
Wow,
yeah.
really?
Oh, wow.
Well,
Okay.
it would have been an easy decision either way, but it's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix for me because it is my favorite Harry Potter.
Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon, what?
Zaddy.
I mean, I think he's almost a little too old to be a
Granddaddy.
Granddaddy. Definitely a granddaddy. Yeah, 100% a granddaddy.
Taylor.
You know, he definitely is
I'll-
some like S&M stuff too.
Probably.
I'll keep it short and sweet because everyone's kind of had their moment to talk about Harry Potter. That is what I'm gonna pick. Order of the Phoenix. The thing that has always stuck out to me most about this movie is just the scene where you got the magic quill and the scarring and just her being that person in that moment and being like, wow, she's the worst. Like actually, literally, like I think I hated her in the best way more than anything or anyone in the Harry Potter films. Like she was so effective on screen in what they wanted her to do. And that moment just has always stuck with me since watching this movie. There's a lot to appreciate about it, but that's always the thing I think of. And I think that she's probably arguably the best part of this movie to me. So I'm voting for Order of the Phoenix.
All right. Adam, I'm going to go you next.
Are we saying enough about Beneath the Planet of the Apes, though? Are we giving it its due? Are we talking about the cult that all wears the skin-tight costumes with capes that make them look like condoms? They look that way to me. That the movie had completely lost me when I saw it, and then we got to the end, and there's just this random cult of people surviving under. Spoiler alert. Sorry, that's probably gonna upset a few people, but Beneath the Planet of the Apes is a bad film. It repeats the plot of the first one, and then just has it. I appreciate its very nihilistic ending. You know, like that's very interesting. But I feel like at that point they were like, we're done. And but what's cool is it set up Escape to be a very interesting like prequel, and Escape ended up being Escape, and everything after it was much more interesting. So I'm glad that it incidentally set up better movies, but it's not great. Order of the Phoenix, everything's been said. Very strong Potter movie. I enjoy rewatching it as well. It really zips. That's what I like about it. That's one thing I'll say. Just it clips along so fast. And like that. That's a movie that when I rewatch it, it feels like an action movie in the Harry Potter universe, and I really like that. So I'll vote for that too.
All right, and Robert.
I wasn't here for the first couple people, but I imagine everybody sang the praises of Order of the Phoenix enough. Obviously going to be my vote. I love that movie. I agree with Dan and Jacob. Not necessarily my favorite, but I think unfairly maligned as far as most people's power rankings of Potter movies. I think this is exactly where the worm turns. It's when Yates takes over as the director, and it's the prelude to when things get really dark. And I like that. It doesn't shy away from that. I mean, Harry is sitting there punching a mirror out, and Snape is invading his mind, and you get to see more of Snape's backstory when Harry reverses the Legilimens on him. There's just a lot of interesting stuff. They're introducing new characters, not just Umbridge, but like Luna and Grop, and they're just everything is seamless in the way that Order of the Phoenix is paced and the world is built. Everything with Fred and George, everything's just great. The DA, I think, is handled really well. Harry has some of the best speeches and quotes of any character in the entire Potter series. Everybody, every famous person has at one point was no more than we are now students. If they can do it, why can't we? And I just think there's just so many inspiring things in Order of the Phoenix. But Beneath the Planet of the Apes, there is some good stuff that I like to when I watch it. I like to point out there's the Vietnam stuff, the corollary where there's these very power hungry war, naked merciless force power war guerrillas, and then as they're marching out of town, there's these people, these picketers, these protesters sitting in a circle. I just think there's some really interesting allegories.
Are they gorillas or gorillas?
What?
Dan.
Are we talking gorillas with a G-O-R or gorillas with a G-U-E?
Oh, G-O-R.
Okay.
G-O-R.
See, I thought you were going gorillas with a Z.
Gorillas.
Yeah, gorillas.
There's some interesting stuff. I still like Zira and Cornelius and how they're depicted. I like how they found a guy there in casting. They must have just been like, all right, who looks the most like Charles Heston?
Yeah.
Where can we find him? I'm just swearing he's an impersonator. It's wacky, it's weird, it's not good, but I still find it watchable and interesting. Order of the Phoenix is just incredible, so definitely Order of the Phoenix.
Nice. All right, with that, we have our first 7-0 sweep. Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix makes it through. All right, next up, we have Kick-Ass 2 versus Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Dan, I'm going to start with you.
It's interesting that these are back to back because my feelings on Rogue One, a Star Wars story are actually very similar to my feelings on Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I feel like there are a lot of people that are sort of down on Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I think it might be, I will say it is in heavy competition for me with The Force Awakens as my favorite, and it's not even particularly close, of the new Star Wars films.
Yeah.
I love Rogue One, and that was another one I was very skeptical of it going in. I thought it was a very creatively bankrupt decision. I was like, do we need to see how they got the plans to the Death Star? Like, that's the second movie you're going to make. And I was just very skeptical of the whole thing. And it really surprised me. I love this cast of characters. I guess maybe I should have seen the ending coming, but I didn't, because I think that we at that time,
well, we're conditioned to think that everyone lives because they always do.
Right, exactly. And like, I worked for Screen Junkies, and like we were just talking today, like 2014 to 2016 was like the critical mass of like the movie news sphere, and so much of the talk around Rogue One was like, who's Jen Erso? Where does she fit in? Is she Rey's
Kenobi?
mother?
Yeah.
Is she like, is she going to come back in the new sequels? Is she? And the fact that they killed everybody, incinerated everyone, and that none of them had any role to play other than this role, and well, I guess now with Cassian a role in a prequel series, but in the ongoing Star Wars story, the fact that they did that was just like it made me realize that they were really actually committed to telling this story and not setting up a bunch of other stories, which I think it would have been. I have a few complaints. I think it's too cutesy with the references to the original trilogy. Do we really need I have the death sentence and his butt-chin friend to pop up on Jeddah? No, we don't. I'm very dicey on Darth Vader. I think that the Darth Vader scene at the end of the movie is like my favorite Darth Vader scene ever, and should have been the only Darth Vader scene in the movie, because I really don't like the one with him and Krennic on
try not to choke on your aspirations, director Krennic.
Mustafar. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that scene. And the Carrie Fisher de-aging and Moff Tarkin de-aging, I really am not a fan of. The cartoon cut scene every time they talk to Moff Tarkin. But So it's not a perfect film. However, I'm a fan. Kick-Ass 2 was it's fine, but I'm higher on Rogue One, in much in the same ways that I'm higher on Order of the Phoenix than a lot of people. So I'm picking Rogue One, flaws and all.
Taylor.
When Rogue One came out, I think I was the #1 fan of Rogue One. I loved all the trailers. I was really excited for it. I sat there through all of but why do we need this movie? We don't need to know how the Death Star plant. This is so dumb. And I was like,
that was me.
I was like, the trailers look legit. Let's go. I was so excited. I didn't care what anyone had to say about why do we need this movie. And then I went in and I was like, I am destroyed. I'm crying because I loved the characters. Like, I know a lot of people have problems with not being able to connect with these characters. Jacob,
Hi.
because they just don't feel like you can connect with them. I connected very hard with these characters and then sobbed when they were incinerated.
You're just going after people today in this one, aren't you?
I am. I'm like, I'm going after you. I'm going after everybody. No, I'm not trying to. This is just genuinely how I felt. Like, I felt like I was the only one excited for Rogue One at the time. But I really liked it. I think it's not a perfect movie. Most Star Wars movies are not perfect movies, so I'm not really going to get into that. But I really liked Jyn as a character. I loved the story we got, having a lot to do with her and her dad and their relationship. I thought was done really well, and like I said, I really came to love these characters in the short amount of time that we got to know them. And so for me, the ending of the movie was very emotionally impactful. And I know that's not the case for everybody, but I think that's one of the huge reasons why it specifically worked for me. Kick-Ass 2 is fine, but come on, Rogue One, like, please, we're not even gonna go there. Come on.
Robert.
Rogue One I also think is probably my second favorite of the new Star Wars movies, but I still also have some real problems with it. It's a very black and white in my mind as far as things that I absolutely.
Why does it have to be about color?
You're right.
Robert?
I shouldn't have brought color into it. You're right. There's stuff that I either absolutely love in the movie, or stuff that I'm really not very high on. Like, I really don't like how the cord is too short, and at the end, like, stuff like that just really bothers me. And the choke on your aspirations, I hate that scene.
Mm-hmm.
That scene is so terrible.
Not to
Choke, right? Like, why did that scene? I'm still in charge. But on the other side of it, things I absolutely love. Ben Mendelsohn killing it.
Oh, Benny Men.
Killing it.
Yes,
Benny Men.
Yes.
Killing it.
Sick.
Representing Australia
Oh,
very
Zaddy.
well.
Such a zaddy.
Ben Mendelsohn is Zaddy,
Yes.
particularly in the
Oh
cape.
my
Yeah.
god, he is so DTF.
Grand
man.
Moff Zaddy.
Are you blind? Oh, look, it's Lyra back from the dead. What a miracle.
Yeah.
Like that, the way he delivers the lines in that opening scene, they were this close. It's so good. Deploy the garrison. He
knows
killing
exactly
it.
what movie he
He
needs
knows
to be in.
exactly what movie he's in.
Yes.
He's killing it.
Yes.
Love him in this movie. I love Felicity Jones. The speech she gives about having the chances be spent and rebellions are built on hope. Love that moment. The Cassian character, I'm a little bit hit or miss on. Some stuff I like when he's explaining to Jyn how long he's been in, and when he kills the Tivik at the start. It hit or miss on that character for me. But at Baze and Chirrut, Chirrut just fucking rocks.
Oh my god, yes.
So, but again, there's also on the other side of it, like, they didn't grab the flash drive and wire Ponda Baba and them on Jeddah when it's destroyed. Like,
Well,
there's
they're not when it's destroyed.
or
Right
before it's
Before.
destroyed. Right.
Yeah, they got
Um,
so lucky they got on that last little space bus.
Yeah.
To
There's
Tatooine, apparently.
Yeah, straight to Tatooine.
there's just a lot of very hit or miss. I either love it or hate it in this movie. Pretty divisive. Kick-Ass 2, I like it more than most people until we get to the pooping and puke scene. Really not too high on the old puke and poop. Especially in my comic book movies. The two P's can stay out of my comic book movies. I do really like Jim Carrey. He knows what movie he's in. And I do like Christopher Mintz-Plasse in this movie as well. there's some stuff to like in Kick-Ass. I'm a huge fan of the first Kick-Ass, but Rogue One, like you said, flaws and all, I think the highs are higher, even if the lows are lower. So I gotta go Rogue One.
All right, Marisol.
Yeah, I'm in a camp who's not as high on the first Kick-Ass. It's just so especially Kick-Ass 2 is just not quite my tempo. Just a little too mean-spirited and ugly for me. Hate Kick-Ass and Hit Girl. Hate that.
I wonder if she hates that.
It was all right. Like, but yeah. Do you like Christopher Mintz-Plasse? I like seeing him step in. I like seeing that kind of villain more. I like seeing somebody, I like that enough. That's maybe a pro I can say. I'm not gonna linger on that long. My vote is not for Kick-Ass 2. It is for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, which yes, I would agree right with you there, Dan. It is absolutely, it's really, really close with Force Awakens for my favorite of these 2020 Star Wars movies, the new era of Star Wars. Love this film. Love Gareth Edwards. Loved 2014's Godzilla. He's a visionary director. He's great. I love films that revolve around characters with nothing to lose, and that is so engaging to me. And you have a film based all around that. I know what a lot of people said about this film was how much they loved how much it's just pretty much like a straight up like war film. And the stakes are just so real, and it's brutal. And we were so ready for that in a Star Wars film. We were ready to have a film where we don't have the smiling, cute droids. We have some really pissy, bitter droids. And
did you know that?
That was just kind of a departure from a new flavor, something that we didn't know that we needed. I love complicated characters. I love characters. I love morally iffy characters. I love that Cassian kills that guy. I love that part. That was one of the first parts in the movie that I just sat up in my chair. I was like, okay, you have my attention. and I find that fascinating. People are not black and white. People are not good and evil. Good people make a lot of really difficult decisions, really ugly decisions, and bad people make some good decisions. So I love a movie full of great characters that are allowed to just live and breathe and have flaws and still be people that you're invested in what happens to them, even though they're all gonna die. They're just all gonna die. I cannot say enough great things about Rogue One. It's easily my pick over Kick-Ass. And talking about it right now made me want to watch it right now.
Throw it on. Just keep it on mute.
Let's do it.
Keep it on mute.
Okay. All right. Well, the game's not on anymore, so.
Adam, I'm gonna go to you.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of it. What everyone's been saying about Rogue One. Briefly about Kick-Ass 2, I find it underwhelming. I'm a little worn. Like when I rewatched that movie not too long ago, I was pretty worn out halfway through, and it's just not I like the first Kick-Ass. Okay, I'm not super high on it, but I there's a lot I like about it. But Kick-Ass 2 doubles down on a lot of the things I didn't like as much, and it has a lot of conflicting tones. And when everyone becomes basically a vigilante by the end, it just seems like everything. I didn't feel invested in the stakes anymore. I felt like the stakes had been erased. So not crazy about it. Rogue One was exciting because it was the first Star Wars experiment, and a lot of people have been curious for a long time. What if one of these Star Wars spin-off novels that a lot of us grew up reading long before they were canon got its own movie? Like Shadow of the Empire was the original one I wish I'd seen made into a movie. So Rogue One was that for me. And a lot of us have filled in the blanks of how the Death Star plans were acquired and everything. And what Rogue One did successfully, in my opinion, is it set up a ground level Star Wars experience in a way that I had never seen before. So that from the opening sequence where you see these worn out stormtroopers just working their shift and everything after that, everything feels so vivid and worn in, and it matches up with the original trilogy without seeming like it has to match it frame by frame. It feels like an adjacent story in that universe, but with characters that don't have grand special destinies. They're just trying to do the right thing and give other people a chance. And when it comes to Zaddies, my vote is Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa forever. Because I was disproportionately excited when I saw a little blip of Bail Organa in this trailer, because I wanted him to come back so bad in this new era, because I feel like he's a great character who just, you know, so cool that he just adopted a kid at the end of the prequel trilogy, and you know they raised a good kid and gave her a good life, and they die this tragic death on an exploding planet. It's very sad, but I like Bail Organa. I like that he's a good politician, and I love his little scene in this. You know, with his little knowing wink to the audience talking about Obi-Wan. It's predictable, but it's fun, and I like the way Rogue One started to connect all of Star Wars together in a way I hadn't seen before. Because I felt like Force Awakens, as much as I like it, was very, very skittish about doing anything prequely. And then Rogue One comes along and embraces the fact that those stories are relevant. And Bail Organa was just one aspect of that. But he's a zaddy. Rogue One, just had to get a few things off my chest. Thanks.
Mara.
I'm just going to completely not talk about Kick-Ass 2.
That's fair.
It's fine.
What did it beat?
I don't know. Probably something like Tank Girl.
Yeah, probably something.
Let me find out. 1 second.
I was just curious.
If Mara, you just I'll let you know at the end.
Okay. I'm just going to talk more about all the things I love about Rogue One. First of which, the score by Mikey G. So good.
Yes.
I am once again, Marisol is completely and totally right. I love the idea that we finally get a chance to see that in our media, which it's very true in real life, that our heroes are not all good. And I like the idea that there are complicated things that you have to do and you have to reconcile with in order to win what is the ultimately morally superior objective, even if you have to do, you know, morally questionable things in order to get to that, because that's literally real life.
That's what Lex Luthor was trying to tell us, and we all rejected him.
Lex Luthor, never wrong. Dan Merle, 2021.
Please don't say anything that I said in the car earlier, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I'm not. Get in! You will stab me with a knife.
It is accurate. I will stab him with a knife. So
We may see a murder live on stream.
Oh no, I won't murder him all the way.
For $100 of super chat.
The robot will murder Parker.
Yeah.
Moving on. Speaking of robots, man, K2SO is just such a great character. I mean, anytime you give Alan Tudyk time to just be any sort of weird thing like a chicken or a droid, he's really gonna light up the screen for me. I get a little bit of the tiny feels when he dies every single time. I'm just like,
Climb.
oh, but you could have lived. Maybe. Except he would have gotten incinerated anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I also want to circle back real quick to Apes again. Mentioning guerrilla warfare, which is showcased quite a lot in Rogue One, and I really like that as well. I am disappointed that shot from the poster that they didn't actually end up showing that in the film, but that's neither here nor there. No, the like
on the beach.
them running on the beach.
Right.
I
know what you're talking
apparently
about.
from the
Yes,
original
yes.
cut of the film. Yeah.
Which is
Who was the
whatever
wasn't there
it
a
is.
different director and then
Yeah.
came out?
Tony Gilroy.
Yeah.
came
You're
in.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has all sorts of great things that I love about Star Wars. Like, I still really, really love Phantom Menace just because I love that they cast Ray Park. I love that they gave somebody who has a martial arts background who can do these really amazing, complicated things. And then they give us Donnie Yen.
Oh.
Like,
Yes.
All things need Donnie Yen in them. Everything. It's just I do suffer a little bit from some of the intentional nostalgia, and some of the choices that they made about how to do that. But I don't forgive its flaws because I love the rest. I just know that it's something that from a corporate decision that they needed to do, and I just have to accept it. It is what it is, as Jacob and Taylor would say. But even though I love it so much that it's not just in my favorite of the new films, it's in my top 3 Star Wars films total out of all of them. So I could keep going, but there's no point. It's all been said. So Rogue One.
All right. Well,
Save the dream.
so Kick-Ass 2 beat Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
So that makes
that
sense,
makes
doesn't
sense.
it?
Yeah, that does make sense.
All right.
I voted for
What
On
a-
Stranger Tides.
Well,
I mean, I think I did too.
I think you might have
actually,
as well.
but-
All right. I just want to apologize for this next one because I think
Oh.
we're about to get a fuck you, Jacob. Mara, you're going to start this one.
that'll be fun, huh?
Guardians of the Galaxy versus Batman 89. Oh, we got the subdued one. All right.
I need alcohol for this. I'm leaving. Hold on.
Oh, thank God.
Robbie.
What? I'm just saying you should enjoy your
Chat is very angry. To be fair, I did not, and not the one who picked this. This is round 2, so the randomizer has done its job. Both movies. So Guardians of the Galaxy beat Ghost Rider, and Batman 89 beat The Shadow.
Yeah.
right. Both rightfully so.
Both rightfully so.
All right, actually, I'm gonna.
Oh,
Sorry. Oh, yeah, Dan, do you want to start?
I'll go because they're both
All
great movies. See, this is where the debate of subjectivity versus objectivity comes in. But I have to say, Guardians of the Galaxy defied the odds. Not only did it keep the MCU alive, it took it to a new level. It set up the whole Infinity Saga, Infinity Stones, Thanos, all of it. It has many of its roots in that movie. A great group of actors, a great team. I would argue more charismatic than the original, perhaps, lineup of the Avengers, at least to that point. But Batman 89 is something that I don't want to say you had to be there because I'm sure there's lots of people that are fans of Batman 89 that were not alive or were very young in 1989. However, it's hard for me to overstate how big Batman 89 was for me, not only as a movie, but just as far as establishing what I would be into like for the rest of my life. Like Batman is still my favorite superhero because of that movie. It's a big reason why I got into movies in general because of Batman. And like, I just got obsessed with movies. How'd they make it? And what's the story behind the scenes? And, it is like a DNA movie for me. It is part of my DNA. I have it memorized from top to bottom. I've seen it 50 times, probably at least. I mean, when I was a kid, I played it on repeat. We just watched it not too long ago, and it's like it still is enjoyable to me the 50th time as it was the first time. So I know that most people's pick perhaps will be or would be Guardians of the Galaxy, but we'll see what it comes up with next. But as much as I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and I cannot pick against Batman 89 here. It was just too big for me, and I can't be objective about it. I love that movie. I love every frame of it. Plus, I don't think it's all nostalgia. I think it's actually a really well-made movie. The production design, the acting, casting Michael Keaton, casting Jack Nicholson, all the way down to Billy D. Williams and Pat Hingle and Jack Palance. Kim Basinger, I think that she gets some flack, but she The part's a little underwritten, I'll grant you that, but I don't think that she's bad in the film.
It's not like a Temple of Doom situation.
No, it's not an indie
Right.
situation. It's yeah. I just I love that movie, and I never won't. Batman '89 for me.
Taylor, I'm gonna go to you next.
Okay, cool. So I was born in 1994, so everything that Dan was just talking about applies to me. I love Batman '89. This is an easy choice. Guardians of the Galaxy's fine. Like, I'm one of those people where I'm like, yeah, cool, Guardians of the Galaxy, go away. Batman '89. Easy. Done. Batman '89.
Wow.
Parker.
What Batman '89 is to Dan, just, part of him. Guardians of the Galaxy feels like at least a little bit to me. It's my favorite MCU movie. It's in probably my top, 25, 30 movies of all time. Guardians of the Galaxy is such an important movie for me. I saw it 8 times in theaters and dozens more since then. The humor is perfect. The soundtrack is amazing. Like you said, the casting, the ensemble, every single person knows what they're doing. Whereas in later films, I don't like the Drax character very much. This is where it's pure. This is where it's great. It works. Groot is incredible. I think Gamora is a really complicated character to be brought in. I love everything that I love how Chris Pratt plays Star-Lord as sort of dim, and I think that's really funny, and it works really, really well. I'll even defend Ronan the Accuser. I think that sometimes there can be a space Nazi villain who is all bad, and you don't have to have every single villain have like a moral gray area. Sometimes he can just want genocide, and you want to stop him. And I like how overdramatic he is. I like how the entire movie he's speaking in these big soliloquies, and he's all grand and grandiose. And then when this asshole starts dancing next to him, he's just like, "What are you doing?" Like, just he drops the facade and is just so confused. I think Lee Pace plays that character brilliantly. I really do. I don't understand the criticism of that one. Batman '89 is really, really great and really, really wonderful, and I love it. I agree. It's just like such a great Batman movie, such a great comic book movie. Maybe the most important movie for modern superhero, but also just like modern pop culture. It's super impactful. But Guardians of the Galaxy is just very integral to why I love movies and why I love superhero stories and big effects driven, type movies. So I love Batman '89, I really do, but Guardians of the Galaxy is really special for me.
Marisol.
I hear you, Parker. I really do. This is one of those, I think you guys know how some of my philosophies with some of my voting, and I really do weigh cultural impact. I really do lead. There's some choices where I really lead with objectiveness over like when you're talking about favorites versus best or something like that. Like objectively best. I get that way with some of these votes, and this one is really tough for me because I have to just be really, 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 really honest. If you made me choose between which movie I would rather watch right now, I am going to put on Guardians of the Galaxy. Not because I don't enjoy Batman, but it's just maybe because I've always been more of a superhero girl, Superman girl, and Batman was a character that I've always appreciated, always enjoyed, but has never been my absolute favorite. So maybe Batman, while I enjoy it, doesn't sink. It's not the revisiting favorite that I know it is for so many people, and rightfully so, completely. But I also have to really look at impact, and the same way that I talked about Superman the movie, Batman '89 is one of those that is one of those defining that molds the things that the films like Guardians of the Galaxy that we enjoy today. You can't sleep on that significance and that impact, and love. I just love, really, really, really do love Tim Burton's vision of Gotham. Enough can't be said about that. Michael Keaton, if there's any actor you should make that you can make that will be the greatest actor to one of the best actors you can list like a top 5 greatest performance, it would be Michael Keaton. And this is just one example of his range and his versatility as an actor. I really do love Guardians of the Galaxy, though. I really do. It's a space adventure, and it's super, super fun and light on its feet. And these ragtag characters really work it together in a way that's not forced, and gels much better than it does in the second movie. It's really freaking hard. And I'm torn between Guardians of the Galaxy, which I do personally enjoy a little bit more, and Batman, which I think is more impactful and more important. So I'm going to.
What does Shannon always say? Yeah.
Says,
We know.
She says,
Always
think racist thoughts. That's what she always says.
No, don't say that.
No, wait. All right, I'm sorry. That's
no.
the third thing. That's the third thing
She says.
First thing she says.
Go with your gut.
Trust your gut. Batman '89, everybody.
Woo!
Wow. All right. Mara.
So
Oh, God, that's over.
this, at first glance, made me a bit. It made me slightly annoyed, Jacob. I love both of these movies for very, very different reasons. Man, Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the only movies that like has really purposeful needle drops that I actually look forward to and that I like. Suicide Squad, the first one, is the wrong way to do that, and this is very much the right way. I am glad that this movie worked because this movie walked so Ant-Man could run. Because I never, if you had asked me, like, sure, I know Guardians of the Galaxy, very, very offbeat comic book property, but just me personally, I was like, well, they will never, ever make Ant-Man, and I would really love Ant-Man. So very, very happy that they were like, yeah, you know what, let's just try this. Whatever, it'll work. It's a tree. But I really love Batman '89. I love the aesthetic. It's one of my absolute favorite Gotham cities. Keaton is just, he's fantastic. He's a great Bruce Wayne. He's a great Batman. He makes me want to get nuts. And though I love a good genocide every now and then, and I really am a big fan of Lee Pace, I'm gonna have to go with my gut, which is my Keaton, who is totally a zaddy.
Yes.
True. Yes.
Yes. All right.
By the end of
Adam,
this,
what-
by the end
what-
of this,
all this.
listen, this is very important. By the end of this, we're gonna have a zaddy bracket.
Oh
yeah.
my god, yes, and the bonus after when the official bracket is over, can we do like the
I think-
daddy bracket?
I think we should.
I think we should.
I'm just
Josh
saying. I'm
Thanos is
taking.
going to be the number 1 seed. Has to be. I'm sorry.
No, but you seed it. No, it has to be randomizer,
Random.
just
Oh,
like
that's
this
right.
was.
Randomized.
Yes.
We don't do seating on this show. We
Yes.
know
Yes.
seating.
And-
That's
And-
effort. That's
Yeah.
effort. I'd rather just put things in a randomizer.
Yeah.
I just know this
Right.
is how I know that just Dan and Mara, that you guys are two peas in a pod, because like Mara leads with her moisture factor in so many of her votes, and Dan, you have the zaddy factor.
Guardians has
Like-
like
like,
the
you
factor of any
have-
movie on this list.
These are very
Elaborate.
important things.
Who?
Every Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper as the raccoon. Everybody.
I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to be clear. I want to know what you're
Absolutely
talking about.
everybody.
I thought you were talking about Glenn
Hi,
Close.
Brandy.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, who's next?
Adam, you're next.
All right. Marisol's having a time with her popcorn. So everything's fine. But
Go make
There's
popcorn.
no civilized way to eat popcorn. It's there's always just going to be a bushel of it at my feet.
that said, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is great. It's one of my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I think it's strong for the reasons everyone stated. I remember when I went and saw it, and I'm sure this is the case for a lot of people, the opening credits to Come and Get Your Love was just such a disarming experience. It was the last thing I ever expected, even though I'd seen the trailer and everything. As soon as that happened, it sets the tone so wonderfully. And I was on the movie's level the entire time. and it has some of the most rewatchability out of all of those movies. You know, where the Guardians have gone since then, I love a lot of what they do in Guardians 2 and the Avengers movies, but it's never been on the level of the first movie. It's very special. And all of the additional like appearances in the ensemble cast are great. Glenn Close, John C. Reilly, Peter Serafinowicz. I love everybody who pops up in this. And I love that that's a tradition in the Guardians franchise. And we saw that in the sequel. And I look forward to seeing who might pop up in the third. So it's wonderful. It really is. And I can't say enough good things about it. But Batman, it is an important movie, and that's a fair thing to talk about. And I don't think you can really measure its impact accurately. It's just so fun to watch for me. And the thing that about Batman for me, I'm not getting emotional. I'm choking on popcorn. I swear to God.
No,
I would admit it.
no, he's
Yeah.
He makes me emotional, man. Don't hide your feelings.
I'm slightly emotional, I guess. So Beetlejuice, Batman back to back is a very specific thing for me. Because I love both of those movies. I really love a lot of Tim Burton's career, and especially that early era. He almost didn't miss, between Pee-wee's Big Adventure all the way through Sleepy Hollow. Like that entire stretch was damn near perfect. And the reason Batman is so exciting for me to watch is because the world had seen Beetlejuice and they were so confused about him being cast as Batman because he has to show such restraint and all this stuff. But the reason I think that's genius is when you watch Batman, at least for me as a fan of Michael Keaton and Tim Burton, you know what's underneath the surface the entire time because you've seen what this man can do. And so when you see the Let's Get Nuts scene, it's just such it's something like, even when I was younger, I was waiting for him to like take it to that level because I could tell something was off just the way he watches people at his party. I love Michael Keaton's subtlety in this, and his intimidation factor as Batman is specific to him. It's the levelness of his voice. I appreciate Christian Bale's yelling stuff, but I really, really like how measured Michael Keaton is as Batman. It's so intimidating. He's so confident, and that's what makes him scary. Both in my opinion, to the audience and the criminals. The aesthetic's fantastic. I love the soundtrack by Prince. Used to own the CD. Wish I still had it, where it was in a tin case that was like the Batman emblem. And even though like only 2 of the songs are really featured in the movie, it's like a 8 or 9 song soundtrack with a ton of Prince songs. The score is great. I love Batman. I really love that movie, and I love finding excuses to rewatch it. And when I watch it, I don't just think about Batman. I think about the career of Tim Burton, of Michael Keaton, and the influence of it on countless movies, and how it just set up this whole era in the early to mid 90s of these imitations that were a series of diminishing returns, admittedly, but all of them had good stuff. The Shadow, The Phantom, Dick Tracy, Darkman, all of it, The Crow. There are things I like about all of those movies that trace back to Batman, and it's just a very personal experience for me. So, yeah, Batman.
I'm going to be very, very quick in my one because I do want to say that I do think we as a society undervaluate just how culturally significant Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, was, because that's the movie that gave Disney the courage to actually, that gave Disney the confidence, the confidence to be like, okay, Kevin, you can go nuts in Phase 3. That because I can still very much remember when he made the announcement of Phase 3. He came out and was like, "This is because of what Guardians did." Because Guardians came out and made $100 million, or just shy of $100 million opening weekend, which no one was expecting and was unheard of at the time. And because it did that, it gave Disney the comfort in, okay, you can go nuts doing what you want to do. You can go hire someone like Taika Waititi to do Thor Ragnarok. You can go and make your more filmmaker driven films instead of the safer ones that we have. That being said, Batman 89 is one of the most important films in modern pop culture history. So I am absolutely going Batman 89 for the aesthetic alone. And that, like, what Tim Burton did with that film is absolutely nothing short of incredible. And Michael Keaton is incredible in that film. And everyone has already said it, so I'm going to move on to the next film. I just wanted to give Guardians its little bit of due in that film shaped what Phase 3 of the MCU looked like because of how well audiences actually gravitated towards it. So yeah, Batman 89 makes it through. This is not going to get any easier, guys. All right.
There's no more under that.
Well, no, we all have matching shirts. I would have put it on if I'd known that that's what you were doing.
Sorry.
I'm expecting
You got popcorn.
I did get popcorn.
Welcome
It's
to the club.
because I couldn't bear to hear me being the only vote for Guardians.
Sorry. All right. Next up, we have 30 Days of Night versus War for the Planet of the Apes. Okay, we got a little bit of a palate cleanser, I think. Mara, now, do you want to start this time?
Sure. Yeah. I gotta say, I do actually really enjoy 30 Days of Night. I think there's a lot of entertaining things going on, especially with Danny Houston. I don't know what he's doing, but it's kind of alluring. Kind of interested to see more of that. But man, War for the Planet of the Apes is just a treasure. It is a joy. I love watching it. It gives me some feels, especially because like animal shaped things give me all the feels. But I mean, the performances are excellent. I love that it actually does really take its time. I know some people might complain about its length, but I love that it has these really long, big, slow parts to it. I love when the movie gets talky because part of what this franchise was supposed to do was analyze society. And I like that it still chose to do that. I mean, it used a different it was looking at a different part of society to analyze than the one that they were doing in the 60s 70s era, but man, this is just a gem. I love this movie. The music is breathtaking. The movie is breathtaking. It's not a perfect movie because, I mean, if I really dissect it, it doesn't quite meet my standards of what I call a perfect movie because, I mean, there are so few, but it is so close. So the apes shall prevail this time.
Adam, I'm going to go to you next.
All right. So, look, I think I know where this is headed because Mara's right. War for the Planet of the Apes is fantastic. I think, there's a pretty consistent argument about the modern Apes trilogy being, one of the best, we've seen in the past couple decades. And I really don't have an argument against it. I like all three of those movies a lot for different reasons. And War especially, I love just the scenes between Caesar and Harrelson especially. There's a lot of interesting conversations like Mara was saying. I really love those scenes with all the scenes with Bad Ape. I think Steve Zahn is so great in that role. And just the level of detail, like you pick up on so much with the design of these apes, what they've been through. He's one of the most obvious examples, the abuse he suffered and everything. But yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes is a beautifully realized movie. Now, 30 Days a Night, I don't expect it to go through, but I really like this movie. And when I saw it in theaters, I had read the comic book, and the comic book is a very hauntingly illustrated, like a lot of watercolors and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark illustrations, but it's vampires, and it's not that elaborate, but it's in that vein a lot of the time, and just those comics, that original comic is just a really good read, and it looks beautiful. And the movie is a pretty good translation of that, in my opinion. I like the visual palette. I like the increasing use of color throughout the movie as things get more severe. One of the most haunting shots of the entire film is this bird's eye view of this town getting ripped apart. And it is so horrifying. And it really, for me, I always say this is the movie that made vampires scary again in the modern era for me, because they're such an immediate threat. These vampires don't stalk you. They just tear you down and don't give you a chance. And then I really like how it becomes a story about survival in their own town, where they're holing up in buildings and waiting out the cycle of these creatures. And they really have no frame of reference other than the fact that they can't survive daylight. So it's a very suspenseful movie. It's aggressively violent, but I don't think it's gratuitous. I just think it's constantly reminding you of the stakes. And David Slade did not go on to direct any more good vampire movies, in my opinion. But I really do like this movie. And when I saw it in theaters, I remember, I'm sorry if this makes me a bad person, but I remember knowing this movie was doing its job, because a girl in the row behind me this girl in her 20s, she just started crying. And I was like, oh, this is fun. This is good. I really like 30 Days a Night. So I'm voting with my heart on this one. 30 Days a Night.
Robert.
My soul is still a little bit broken from Guardians.
Don't lie. You don't have a soul.
That's true. I sold it long ago. For this youthful face.
He's 64 years old.
Yeah.
He has
100.
I was thinking for the IG talent, but
Oh yeah.
No, that I was given by the sorceress.
Such a liar.
War for the Planet of the Apes is damn near perfect. This new Apes trilogy is my favorite trilogy, in the last since Lord of the Rings.
So 20 years?
Yeah. Well,
Since ever.
as much as I fucking love the Hobbit movies, which I do, War for the Planet of the Apes is pretty damn excellent. Steve Zahn is incredible. Bad Ape is such a great new character. Just no, that's mine. Trying to take stuff away from Nova when they first meet him is so good. I like everything that they do with the donkeys, with the betrayal of Winter, and with how Red turns around at the end and helps Caesar. I think that's really interesting. I love it. It happens early in the movie, but I love everything that they do with Caesar's family and wife. I think it gives him the perfect motivation for revenge. And I like how at the end of the day, he doesn't have to take revenge. He doesn't learn that, you never have to hurt anybody, but he doesn't ultimately, he's not the downfall of the Colonel, which I really like. What else about War for the Planet of the Apes? The opening scene is magnificent. One of the best war movie scenes in this decade. That's opening scene is so good. War for the Planet of the Apes is incredible. Andy Serkis should have won an Oscar by now.
Yes.
30 Days of Night, I do really like. I think Ben Foster is on some shit, but I'm here for it. I'm here for everything he's doing in his brief stint.
Raw hamburger.
Yeah. As much as I like grandmas growing weed in their basement, I gotta go for War for the Planet of the Apes.
Marisol.
I go not as strongly as you were saying, Adam, but you got to give props to 30 Days of Night for, like you said, making vampires terrifying, especially a really lovely contrast to a year later the horse shit that would start, which was the Twilight series. And I just love how feral the vampires are in this film. They're animals. They're creatures of just bloodlust or whatever you want to call it.
There's definitely some lust going on from Danny Houston. Oh yeah,
big time.
It just filled me with the sense of terror that I hadn't felt and since a few years since seeing Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake. And And the best kind of movies, those best kind of horror movies that really inject that sense of horror should have a sense of dread and hopelessness. And 30 Days of Night really, really does it effectively. Josh Hartnett is fine. Not crazy about Melissa George as a lead actress. We haven't even seen that much of her since then. So that's neither here nor there. But not as, I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, but I do think it really does deserve credit. And is always one of those where if you just like, hey, here's a kind of forgotten movie from the 2000s, or if you had to make a recommendation to somebody to see one of the ones that will be memorable and will give you something different of 21st century vampire films. Obviously, people are going to say, Let the Right One In, and they're going to say, I think 30 Days a Night is another one that deserves to be on that kind of list. War for the Planet of the Apes. Yep. This is the pick though. This is the pick. Bad Ape is one of my absolute favorite apes in this new series. I love how this does. I go back and forth with it. I both frustrated, but also really appreciate how much more, like you were saying, this one does slow it down after like the action, very action heavy, fast moving Dawn. This one does pull it back and really savor the deep character development and the small moments that really matter in this series. And some of the best moments of this new series are in this film. I can agree with everything that has already been said. Yeah, we just wanted to give a little bit of props to 30 Days a Night, but it's going to clearly be War for the Planet of the Apes for me.
And Dan.
Yeah, as a box office guy, I try to be as dispassionate as I can, but sometimes there are movies that don't do well that just hurt.
July
And
2017.
2017 had a couple. One of them was Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
The other one was War for the Planet of the Apes, because I love War for the Planet of the Apes. And I think the problem was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came out in the summer because it was a summer movie. As Marisol was saying, it's very action heavy. And so they're like, well, we'll put the next one out in the summer. War for the Planet of the Apes is a fall movie. It's not a summer movie. It's not an action a minute. And it's just like, it's hard to please people in the summer. Like they just saw Spider-Man, and the next week they're going to go out and see like 2 hours of apes pondering the meaning of life and, having philosophical debates with the general. It's like, it's just, I think it was just the timing wasn't great. But it's so good. Spencer Gilbert and I had a series of very impassioned debates about Andy Serkis, because I maintained and continue to maintain that he is criminally underrated as an actor, because his motion capture work is dismissed by many as not quote unquote acting. And Spencer agreed with that. He said, well, it's not, because, there's animators involved and blah, blah, blah. I disagree. I think Andy Serkis should have been nominated for Gollum. I think he should have been nominated for one of the Apes films. I think Toby Kebbell should have been nominated for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, he's so good.
War for the Planet of the Apes is one of the best modern movie trilogies for me, bar none. I think that you could have doubled down on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and just done a big, ostentatious, twice as much action finale. But I don't think it would have been as satisfying. And the fact that it is such a bittersweet end. It's a bittersweet end for the apes, because ultimately they lose Caesar. And then, you actually see mankind's ultimate act of self-destruction. And I think that's the real tragedy of this whole series of films is, you have the virus, which certainly wiped out a lot of mankind, but humans really wiped themselves out, because they were the ones that were bumped down to their most primal instincts. And that instinct was destroying themselves and destroying others. And it's not a popcorn thing. It's a downer ending. Man's inherent badness wiped him off the planet of the earth, the face of the earth, and it becomes a Planet of the Apes.
Question: Woody Harrelson, Zaddy?
I don't think so.
No, yeah, I don't feel it.
Nothing against him. He's cool. I want to hang out with him.
but you don't want him to hang
Yeah.
out with you.
No, exactly.
All right.
30 Days of Night seemed pleasant enough while I was working on charts one day on the couch while Mara was watching it. I liked it. It was very stylistic.
Mhm.
I'm sure I'll probably watch it again at some point. But yeah, I love all of the Apes films. And War for the Planet of the Apes is so good. So good. Its failure, box office wise, hurt me.
Yeah.
So yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes.
Can I just say, if they re-release 30 Days of Night with new cover art, I want the blurb from Dan Merle to be quite pleasant.
My favorite blurb ever was it's actually the pull quote that I chose.
Oh my god, for Dear Evan Hansen.
No, for 2017's Justice League.
Oh, okay.
Which was it literally, if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it's fine, whatever, leave me out of it. Was my
That's amazing.
Oh,
That's
that's
so
actually
good.
amazing. Yep.
Okay, all that I'm gonna say about this, because everyone's pretty much covered it at this point, all I'm gonna say is I've seen the trailer for 30 Days of Night, and that's all I need to know in terms of I would probably never sleep again if I watched this movie. So I watched the trailer, posted a trailer reaction, and everyone's like, this is my favorite trailer reaction you've ever done. You have to watch the movie. And I was like, no, absolutely not.
So, War for the Planet of the Apes makes it through. Next up, we have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire versus Kingsman: The Secret
I have to think about
Service.
this while I take a restroom break.
I don't like you.
I'm not pleased,
Can I
Jacob.
go?
I'm not pleased.
Can I go first?
All right, Taylor, you're up.
I'll go first because this is very easy for me. Kingsman: Secret Service I enjoy very much as a movie. But I am the weirdo who has Goblet of Fire as her favorite Harry Potter movie that has ever been released. It is absolutely my favorite Harry Potter movie. Everyone tells me I'm crazy. I don't care. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but the Triwizard Tournament stuff gets me. Like, I love aesthetically what they've got going on in the movie.
It's
like
the hair.
The hair is at peak condition in this movie for everyone involved.
Long. It's too
No,
long.
no,
Perfect.
Mara, girl, listen to me. Listen, that is like the optimal length of hair for me that I need. So-
Jacob, are you hearing this? Because I think there's something wrong.
I've told him this, and he doesn't go for it.
Nope.
So
Mm-mm.
I've told him it needs to be like at least
I
least
can't.
here.
I hate it.
Like,
It
at
drives
least
me
there.
mad. I've
I
had
think
long
that it was
hair,
so
and I hate
feathered.
it.
That's what I really didn't like, was that it was like feathered.
I can appreciate that, but the length like does things for me. So like yes. We talk about moisture. I was like, damn. Okay,
I'm
so
so sorry, Jacob. I wish I could help you, but I can't.
it's all right. He refuses to help himself by growing it out, so there's nothing we can do about that. But
then I don't shave, and then I don't.
and then yeah. Anyway, we're not going to get into the things that you won't do for me. That's fine.
I feel like we would be here for several hours based on this reaction, Jacob. Jeez, do more things for her.
Jacob, are you
Anyway.
going to start your new podcast, The Couch Chronicles?
Probably.
Jacob's like, this is day 17.
Yeah. I got 7 days of neck period going now.
every Monday night I sleep on the couch.
Okay, so anyway, yes, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire is moisture for me, and that's all I need to say about that. Everyone is at their optimal level for me of everything that they need to be.
And it's not weird because you were their age when it came out.
I was their age when it came out, so that's how it worked. Like I was like, you're marketing directly to my eyes. That is
No, I
what
mean
you're doing
Hermione
with
was
this
old
movie.
enough to be hot then, like just
She
barely.
was.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah.
She was.
If you're under 18 though.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I mean, she's a minor aged character. Of course, you'd have to be under 18.
Okay, thanks for all the caveats on this, but I don't care.
Wait, isn't
Okay.
Victor Crumb 18?
Golly.
Sorry. I'm just saying.
I've lost all control of what I'm trying to say about
Yes.
this.
Sorry.
My
Continue.
vote is for Goblet of Fire.
All I
damn
heard was
it.
sploosh, and that was where you lost me. Sorry. What's up?
Good. That's all you need to know. It's the best movie. Triwizard Tournament, flames, goblets. That's all you need to know.
Dan, I'm gonna fill
Done.
you in.
Okay.
Apparently, they were at peak level hotness with their hair in Goblet of Fire. That's a very important point.
It's not as impactful when you missed what happened what came after that whole thing, but it's fine. It's fine.
Marisol. Okay.
Oh, good. I'm next.
Take a layer off.
Interesting enough, only because it's topical right now. Every time I watch Goblet, but especially the first time I watched it, I was like, so I guess this will serve as like evidence, like on celluloid, that all the barbers in London went on strike in like 2005.
Good times. Good times.
I guess there was like, not a hair shearer in sight, because I don't understand the hair in the film. But I will say about Goblet of Fire is that it is one of those, if you have somebody who's never read a Harry Potter book, never seen a movie, and you want like a little like starter Potter, starter Potter film, I always say the Goblet of Fire is the one you should show people. It's not because I think it's an outlier in the rest of them, in that it's just the most action packed and the most like breakneck, paced, because of how long the book is, and how much they had to cram into the film. But it is almost like a Cliff Notes version of everything that Harry Potter as a property has to offer. It does have the spectacle. It does have the wonder. It captures it. I think out of all of the films, it captures a John Hughes-esque high school like feel, with the bubbly frisky fun of like teenagers trying to. It's a great high school movie. That's what I'm trying to say. One of the things I love about Goblet of Fire is how great of a high school film it is, about boys and girls falling in love. I think it achieves this so much better than Half-Blood Prince does, with such more of a playful sense of fun. I love Mike Newell's energy in this film. And I can say a lot of great things about Goblet of Fire. It deserves a lot of credit for making those decisions in the screenwriter's room, and making those cuts and trimming and condensing the story and finding ways around, like having simple things, like having Neville, simple ways that actually make sense, and with keeping the characters, the story closer and make more sense. Like Neville giving Harry the gillyweed rather than like Dobby, like simple things like that actually make a tighter, more believable film. Even if it doesn't make a literal book to film adaptation. Those are the smart things you need to do. And Goblet of Fire deserves a lot of credit for Steve Kloves achieving a very, very difficult thing to do in terms of screenwriting, condensing a very expansive novel in a satisfying way that satisfied both fans of the books and general audiences. Goblet of Fire deserves a lot of credit for all of that. Now, I think you guys probably already know at this point, that I am infamously not a fan of the Kingsman movies. And that includes this first one. And I've said all my reasons, so I won't belabor the point too much with it. But I just not my speed. There's so many weird elements in here. I think that I don't like the lisp on Samuel L. Jackson. Sophia Boutella is the best part. And I think, again, not a surprise, Mark Miller, Matthew Vaughn mashup, that there's a lot of mean-spiritedness in this film, and tonal shifts, really weird tonal shifts, where it tries to be earnest but also really mean at the same time. And that's just a weird mix that would only get worse in the next Kingsman movie, and certainly in the Kick-Ass movies. Don't get the Swedish princess who's obsessed with anal sex. Again, another really stupid, really tone deaf, really, really stupid decision and poor taste of kind of humor that happens throughout this movie a lot. Hate that. It's the kind of shit that ruins a movie for me. I'm just like, what? Who is this for? Who are you laughing? I just imagine some bro laughing with another guy because he thinks it's the funniest joke ever. And I don't like it. I don't like it. And I also just don't. I know that the church scene is heralded as this amazing action film scene, and it's not. It's a massacre, and it's very, very digital, very artificial, the way that scene is constructed, and overkill, literally. My rant is over. I love Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and that's my vote. And I know I'm alone because I know a lot of people love the King's movies, but I have very specific reasons why it's there. This one in particular, for specifically what I said, is not a hit for me.
Adam, I'm going to go to you next.
Have you heard of this movie Kingsman: The Secret Service? It's really, really good.
Leave.
Yeah, no.
Go.
No. I do agree with Marisol's criticisms of the movie. That's what keeps me from loving Kingsman. I like it though. I like it, but it does feel imbalanced when I watch it. I will say this: the song "Give It Up" by Casey and the Sunshine Band, I believe, terrific. I mean that's the case without this movie existing, but I do enjoy the playful way in which it's used in this film. But Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I'm more of a casual Potter person. But I think Goblet is a fun and relatively harrowing movie to watch. And I do like, what I like about it the most is honestly how this is the one where I really, really feel bad for Harry. Like, I usually feel pretty bad for him because, like, you know, obvious reasons, but like this one, he really didn't want to do this. and then he gets, his name gets drawn out of the thing, and then yes, from the title. And then
Roll credits.
And then Dumbledore yells at him about it. and he feels like shit the entire movie about something that's not his fault. I'm like, I get it, man. I get it. Like, I feel for him in this movie from beginning to end. So for the empathy factor, I will take the Goblet of Fire in this round.
All right. Mara, I am going to go to you next.
I don't know why you said it like that.
Sorry, because I'm like, hang on, no, I was trying to think who I was going to go to next, and then I was like, because originally I was like, no, I've gone to Mara last several times, so no, don't go to her last again. So that's why my brain was trying to catch up with my mouth because I'm very tired.
I think you're really just trying to get out of all the sofa sleeping that you're going to be prepared for.
Yeah.
This is actually a little tough for me because I am also a very big Goblet of Fire person. Although really, I think it's mostly just because of I saw the first real, like, genuine, heartfelt acting from him at the very end. You know, like, I want to cling to Cedric's corpse while I cry my eyes out. So painful to watch. But it doesn't work for me in all places. And I think part of that is because it's a little, I like the idea that we're still developing the characters. There's nothing wrong with that. But the older I get, I suppose, the more I'm like, okay, I appreciate teen angst. I was an incredibly angsty teenager, I'm sure, but it works for me a little less as I get older, but mostly because I'm like, just talk to each other. Jesus, I just want you to talk to each other. But even though it has those really tiny things that, you know, like when I'm 40, I'm sure I'm going to be like, okay, this movie's a little much for me now. I'm just going to skip a little, but I still just love it so, so much. I do have a little bit of a grievance with the, Harry, did you put your name into that cup with him screaming at him?
I must protest! I must protest!
Only because
as like the goblets and chalices like rattle and fall onto the floor behind him.
But of course he is lying.
But only because Ben Goddard and I, by the way, are very aligned on this. Like, we weren't at that point in the books yet where we needed to see, like, he was still supposed to be nurturing Dumbledore at this point. He was not supposed to be, I need to ask you to do some really shitty things, Harry, and you're going to respect me because now you're becoming a man and I'm telling you what you have to do in order to save everybody. We weren't there yet. So I actually really, really don't like that. It plays very poorly for me. All that being said, I'm very torn because personally, I love the Kingsman movies because clearly there's something wrong with me. At least according to everybody else. I must be broken inside because honestly, almost everything in that works. I think that it is using gratuitous violence to say something, not just to like be shocking. I like the performances. It was my first real exposure to be like, who's Taron Egerton? I like that he has the ability to do some of the physical things. Yes, there's a lot of computer aided stunt work, but I mean, look at the MCU. Like, I don't find that that's really out of place now. I love Mr. Pickles. One of my favorite movie animals.
That every time I take a shit.
Exactly. He had pancreatitis. Poor little guy. I don't like the idea of having to shoot a dog, even if it's not real. I can't watch it.
Shoot the dog.
Shut up.
Shoot the dog.
Shut up. and so that's one of the only things sorry. One of the only things that I have to like say is a small personal reason why I'm like, okay, if I can't watch the whole movie, should I really ever vote for it? But I know Harry Potter's going to sail through. I'm going to give Kingsman my vote because it does work for me. It doesn't work for everybody, and I totally get that, but it works for me, and it's not going to see another day here, so I'm going to give it my pity vote.
Dan.
One day more. One vote more.
One vote more.
No, it needs like more votes than are possible to happen. So
here's what I'll say. I think the last 15 minutes of Goblet of Fire is some of the best Harry Potter stuff in any of the movies.
Oh, David Tennant's hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
2.
Yes.
3.
Sorry, what?
So yes, but my thoughts, and I've already talked about that. I love Order of the Phoenix. It's my favorite Harry Potter movie. One of the reasons that is that for me, I would say I don't wholly dislike any of the Potter films, with the possible exception of Chamber of Secrets. Yeah. I'm very on that one. It's kind of a task. But the first 4 Potter films to me largely feel like adaptations, and the last 4 feel like movies, if that makes any sense. And for me, Goblet of Fire was the last one that felt like an adaptation. So I like it, but I don't love it. It's not, I know it's a lot of people's favorite Harry Potter film. It's not my personal favorite. And Kingsman, for me, like, okay, let's lay the cards on the table. The ending, the butt sex joke, it's like watching SNL and they're doing a sketch and they don't know how to end it, so they just like write a really rushed joke and then they go to commercial and you're like, what? Like, that's how that feels to me. It just feels like they couldn't think of anything better, and so like every time I watch the movie, even I'm like, oh, that's how they end that movie. It just kind of goes. It's not a good ending. But I love what comes before it. Taron Egerton is like, I remember watching that, and it's like one of those times for me, it doesn't happen that often where I'm watching a movie and I see someone I've never seen before, and I kind of go like, wow, like, who is that? Like, they're great. And when I saw Taron Egerton in Kingsman, I was just like, he's really good. Like, how have I not seen him in anything? I'm sure he was in stuff.
He was robbed for Rocket Man.
Yeah. I love him in particularly the first movie. I like the second movie. I've cooled on it over the years a little bit, but I've revisited the first Kingsman and I like it quite a bit. Samuel L. Jackson's doing something in that movie. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting, and I like it, and I like that he brings out a whole tray full of McDonald's to give to Colin Firth, and there's a lot weird going on in that movie, and I think it's an interesting plot. It's an interesting thing. The idea of like the chips and the phones, and we're going to drive everybody crazy, and everyone's in on it. And the ending, I would agree 100% is a terrible ending. And it's like they just couldn't think of anything else to do. And it's like, as Marisol, I think, aptly put it, it's sort of the bros idea of like, butt sex. But that doesn't ruin the movie for me. And I think the action's great. I like the way the action's shot. I really do. I like the church sequence. I love the scene where Eggsy is running through in the base. He's running through the hallways and he's running out of weapons and he has to figure out how to do that. I think that's really well shot. Sophia Boutella is great. I love her fight scenes. The bar scene is great. Even Mark Hamill, at the beginning, and I'm a spy movie mark, and I'm kind of hard on spy movies, but I really like Kingsman: The Secret Service, so I'm actually going to vote for that.
Hey, Dan.
I enjoy Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, but I'm voting for Kingsman.
You know who's in that movie, by the way?
Who?
Jack Davenport.
Oh, yes, Jack Davenport, who plays the guy, not the guy who directed Blade.
No, not Stephen Norrington.
No, Commodore Norrington.
Yes.
From Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's correct.
What's his name? Jack? No. What was Commodore
Yeah.
Norrington's first name?
I can't remember.
Norrington?
Not good.
James.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Norrington.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is.
Parker.
They made me kill Professor Arnold. I goddamn love Professor Arnold. I love Kingsman so much. Even the ending, I'm an apologist. I think that joke's funny. Maybe I'm just the dude bro who was that age when it came out, who saw that movie at 17 years old and was like,
But-
yeah, I think that joke's funny. I love everything about Kingsman. I love how it's a fresh take on the Bond formula. I love Colin Firth. I love the bar action scene. I love the way the action is filmed as well. I think it's really dynamic and it's really interesting. Matthew Vaughn is one of my favorite directors working. That said, it's Harry Potter. And I'm going to go Goblet of Fire. I think Goblet of Fire is the last one. I agree with Dan. It is the last one that really feels like an adaptation, but also there's a lot that they cut. I think this one has the most smart cuts. It cuts Winky. It cuts Little Bagman. It cuts the Sphinx. It cuts the spiders. Like it cuts stuff that doesn't attribute to the story that they're trying to tell. So I think the cuts are really, really smart. And this is also the last one where we talked about Daniel Radcliffe in the next one and how he's really, in Order of the Phoenix, angsty and dark and, downer on himself. This is the last one where he has that spark of wonder in his eyes. When he walks through that tent and just says, I love magic. Like, that is such a good line. But not only, like, there is still that feel of wonder, that Chris Columbus, Sorcerer's Stone era of wonder and joy, but there is also darkness. With the Quidditch World Cup also comes the Death Eaters and the Dark Mark. With the Gillyweed and the Black Lake also comes the Mer People, who are very dark and mysterious. With the glory of the Triwizard Cup also comes this maze that you can lose yourself. Dumbledore's speech before the maze is really fascinating to me. And when Cedric and Harry, when Harry saves him from the vines and he says, for a moment there, I thought you were going to let it get me. For a moment, so did I. Like that is the stuff about Harry Potter that I love the most, when it's just the perfect amalgamation between dark and twisted and complex and also just pure bright-eyed wonder. Priority and Cantatum fuse with Cedric's death. You guys talked about Cedric's death earlier. The fact that Voldemort calls him the Spare is brutal, but it's so good. The actor who plays Amos, his father, crying out, "That's my son, that's my boy," is just heartbreaking.
So much better than on Lost when Harold Perrineau is yelling about Walt.
Took my son.
Oh,
Yeah.
my boy. That's my boy.
Dumbledore's speech after Cedric's death sets up Order of the Phoenix perfectly, and his conflict with the Ministry and with the censorship, and how you have to trust students, you have to treat them like adults. When he says, the Ministry of Magic does not wish for me to tell you this, but to not do so would be an insult to his memory. Like, that is just pure Dumbledore right there. I understand the grievance with the put your name thing. I think this is the movie where Dumbledore starts to trust in Harry a little bit more as an adult, which at the same time he becomes even more manipulative of him. He's, would treat him as bait. Everything with Moody, I think the twist is actually done really, really well. They're still integrating new characters. They're bringing in Moody and Crouch, and God, Goblet of Fire is just so good. Fleur Delacour, when I was 14 years old, watching this movie in the theater. This is the first Harry Potter movie I saw in the theaters. Whew! That was a time.
I thought Ginny gave you your sexual awakening.
Seriously,
You told me that.
Yeah, kind of. It's like her, Daniel Panabaker in Sky High, Shigo and Kim Possible. What else?
True.
Yeah, I could keep going. All right, I'm done now. No,
Oh, okay.
no. I'm gonna stop talking. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Robert, I just want to very quickly let you know that you were the deciding factor on this, and I've been debating which one I wanted to go to through the entire thing. And then as soon as you said Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I'm like, okay, I can go Kingsman.
Yeah.
Because I love
Wait,
both
it
of
wasn't
these
even
movies.
close though. You can vote
Yeah, it was-
Kingsman
no,
no
it was
matter
close.
what.
It was-
No, it's
No,
not.
it was
It's
close.
4-3. It's
Really?
4-3. Robert's the deciding
Yes.
vote.
Yes.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Great. So because Robert got a boner for Florida Declare, Kingsman is eliminated.
I got a voter for Sophie Cookson too. What's her name? What's her character's name?
I
Roxy.
mean, like, are boner points any less valid than Zaddy and moisture points?
Right.
Oh, that's true.
Come on, be fair. Be fair.
Look, you got
Oh.
our cats. I mean, come on.
Our pets, yeah.
It was
Most,
before
So, yeah,
Deadpool, Parker.
it was.
All right,
Yeah,
talk
no,
about it.
I definitely just want to give I really do enjoy Kingsman, and I really enjoy Goblet of Fire, and the next one's going to be a half an hour discussion. So,
So let's
I-
get to
No.
it.
let's just get to the
No.
next one.
Let's just do it.
No.
I'm very I know you know this is coming. You know it's coming.
No.
Do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Lord of the
Fuck
Rings,
right
The
off.
Two Towers versus Back to the
I'm
Future.
going home. I'm leaving.
Aren't you at home?
Go. I was gonna say,
I'm going to
Dan,
the
I'll go. You go first. I'll go next.
We'll cancel each other out, I'm sure. Maybe.
Wow,
I'm just
Dan.
saying. I know how you feel.
Dan, you are up.
Dan.
Okay, listen. I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
But
I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy as a whole. But of the three, while Helm's Deep is incredible
Yeah.
and Gollum is great,
Helm's Deep is like balls deep good.
if we're splitting hairs here, which is where this is the point we are, and I'm probably going to be in the minority here. The ints are a little snoozy, is all I'm saying. There's a significant portion of the Two Towers where I just sort of check out mentally because it really doesn't hold any interest for me.
well, that's your intellectual
you're part of this
deficiency, not the
world.
film problem.
There's a whole section of this movie that I just sort of dread getting through because I just don't like it. Whereas
who are you?
I'm sorry, I don't, and it's obviously John Rhys Davies. I have ears. I know that's Gimli's voice. You're not fooling anybody. Why does he sound just like Gimli?
Slower, Dan.
Yeah, he did. Anyway, for literally almost exclusively that reason, for the fact that when you cut to Merry and Pippin, I lose almost complete interest.
Billy Boyd, though.
I love Billy Boyd, and he's in two of the other ones, and he's wonderful. He sings. Ow. Back to the Future, again, for me, is another DNA movie. I love that movie. I think it holds up. I think it is one of those perfectly structured movies because you make it a period piece, consciously a period piece. You set it in 1985 and 1955. You don't have to worry about it aging in the sense of like, oh, they didn't set it in today. They set it in 1985, very obviously. Christopher Lloyd, one of the great, I think, comedic performances of all time. He still does stuff. There's a look that he gives Marty when Lorraine shows up at the garage and like they have to cover up the time machine and I think it's when she asks him to the dance. Like he circles behind her and he gives Michael J. Fox this look and his eyes just sort of bulge out. It's one of the great. It's just like it's like silent comedy. It's like Buster Keaton type stuff. I mean, Christopher Lloyd is so good. Michael J. Fox. I mean, with apologies to Eric Stoltz, but I can understand why they did what they did because it's hard to imagine anyone being able to nail that character in that way. I just think that it's set up so well. It's set up so well that they were able to retcon it somewhat successfully in sequels because they could go back and make up reasons for certain things to exist. I really like that movie, and I think when you look at just setting up structure and setting up characters and the fact that Marty's mother is totally full of shit when she's like, I never parked in cars with a boy or drank with a boy. I mean, it's just, she's the idea of like, you sort of rewrite your own history as you get older and then going back and seeing what people are really like. I just love that movie so much, and so I'm going Back to the Future with. Listen, Two Towers deserves all the accolades it gets, and again, taken as a whole, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is fantastic. But on its own, of the three, it's the one that has parts that I'm not as interested in. So I have to go Back to the Future. Let the evisceration begin.
Adam, I'm going to go to you before Mara murders me.
Ugh, okay.
I've never seen Mara want to murder me as much as with right this second.
This is worse than Batman 89 and Guardians for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
I knew
is-
this was coming. Oh, yeah, I knew this was coming.
It's just Jacob. It's shitty. All right. So
Wrong words.
I know.
You pissed him off. Look at him.
So I love The Lord of the Rings a lot, and The Two Towers is a movie that I have seen many, many, many times. And as Gandalf's my favorite character, I wish Tolkien had written like a cool prequel series for him.
It's called the Silmarillion.
Well, I've read the Silmarillion.
That's not him
sir.
specifically. Sorry, that was.
I read it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get enough screen time in that book.
You're right. That's true. That is true.
There's a hell of a lot of Morgoth.
Read it though, because it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
His name is Melkor.
I'm so.
Yeah,
Those are both.
sorry.
Robert is making up for not drinking last week.
That's true.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any liquor in it.
This
This doesn't. I said I was
original
speaking.
Dark
I
Lord
had
had many
no
names,
liquor earlier, and I
but
was speaking in slurs. I could not
digress.
speak this morning.
Sorry.
We digress. It's not a
Sorry.
Silmarillion deep dive. I apologize. Look, I really, really love The Two Towers. It is the Lord of the Rings. Like I know, I think of it as like the one that really kicks the action in to high gear. In the third act, Helm's Deep is just so exciting. The thing that's so cool about Helm's Deep is the way it's set up. The space is so well established, and you get this sense of claustrophobia as the battle wages on and on and on, and the glimmers of hope that you get during the battle really make it just such a dynamic experience. Now I appreciate where Dan's coming from on the Treebeard stuff, but I have a weird obsession with Treebeard, and not just because I've had a few incense burners over the years that are shaped like him.
Somehow that makes perfect sense.
So the ones you could buy at Spencer's Gifts. So when I read The Two Towers for the first time, I'm like, are you shitting me with this talking tree? This is incredible. And you just call him Treebeard because he has moss on his face. And I just love the way the character was written. He's a giant, pissed off version of the Lorax, and I really like that. And I would watch the Treebeard spinoff any day. The Lord of the Rings animated movie, one of my favorite parts about it is Treebeard. He has a big pronounced butt, which is really funny. Look, I really love The Two Towers.
Are you making a zaddy argument here?
Yeah, Treebeard's a zaddy. Yes. He's a great grand zaddy, in my opinion.
He's definitely grand
He's
zaddy.
next level. I like all that stuff. It is. I do admit that in terms of pacing, it does muddle the pacing here and there. Especially in the extended version, even though I still like the material. No. Well, I'm saying I toss pacing out the window with some of the extended stuff, to be honest with you. I love them, but yeah, like they get a little long in the tooth at certain moments. But I can't say enough about The Two Towers. I cry at the opening because, I'm so excited to see what happened to Gandalf and get that glimmer of hope, and then his return as Gandalf the White. Back to the Future is a movie that I watched in the first third of my young life, like ages 6 to 10. The only copy of Back to the Future I had was taped onto a VHS where the ending was cut off because my sister taped over it with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And And Back to the Future was taped during the 80s. And so all these old 80s commercials were on it. I treasured that tape. But I didn't treasure the fact that it literally ends after Marty says, "Hey, if you ever have a kid, who sets fire to the living room rug, go easy on him," and then it cuts to Rudolph. That was Back to the Future for me. And
What? So he doesn't even get the back to 1985. Wow.
Right. So this was until I was 10 years old, and I still love the movie. Okay. And so when I finally saw the full version of the film, which I've seen countless times since, I have an extra deeply buried appreciation for the final sequence of the film, because it feels like it was made up just for me as a kid, because I didn't have it. So, and then the sequels are their own flavor. And I really like both of those movies for different reasons, but I adore the first one because of how well it sets up all of the payoff, and how fun it is, how distinct its sense of humor is, how it leans into its characters, the acting. The soundtrack is so much fun. I love the song "The Power of Love" and "Back in Time." I love Huey Lewis's cameo. We'll see what happens. I know everyone's gonna have a lot to say about both of these movies. And Dan already said a lot about what I feel about Back to the Future, to be honest with you. But I love it, and I love the Two Towers. But Fellowship is my horse in the race for Lord of the Rings to the end, and I'm gonna bet my money on that, as much as it pains me, because I cannot not vote for Back to the Future. I have to vote for Back to the Future. And
All right. I know. Mara.
So I have complicated thoughts. Reason being, I had a flicker of a memory in the recesses of my mind of what the Two Towers went up against and how it got here. And I'm tempted to be vindictive about it and not vote for it for that exact reason. I do have to say, though, this is my favorite Lord of the Rings film, and I know that I don't historically love the Back to the Future sequels, but I love this first movie. I really, really do. So it's my favorite of both trilogies. And I live for the Battle of Helm's Deep. It's maybe one of my favorite war scenes of any kind in any film. Now, not the favorite, because that spot is reserved for a very special movie, but it's up there. It's so up there, and it really holds up. And I don't mind the end stuff. I just want to live in that world. I love that world so much. But I really do agree. I think Back to the Future is nearly a perfect movie. I don't know why you think I don't like it.
I just know you love Two Towers.
I really, really do. I would watch an 8-hour extended edition of that movie. I don't care how many ents are in it. I mean, of just that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Really, this is tough. I know we've talked at length about both of these movies. They both have excellent music, whether it be soundtrack music or score. Great performances. God, I don't know. I mean, my heart was immediately going Two Towers, but I kind of just want to fuck it over for what it did to an absolutely perfect, flawless movie.
Come on.
For those of you who didn't see it, it beat Terminator 2.
And I was in such a bad place, and I can't believe that that's what happened. I vaguely recall grunting and trying to enunciate how much I loved that movie. I feel like Back to the Future is going to make it through, so I'm going to vote with my heart and vote Two Towers, and I'm not going to be at all upset about Back to the Future moving forward, because how do you know?
I just don't think it will.
Okay.
Can I add an addendum to what I said earlier and say the Aragorn death fake out is a waste of time? Thank you.
I'll
see the rest of my time.
Oh, I disagree. I will fight that.
All right, Robert.
Where
are you going?
So the Aragorn death fake reminds him of his relationship with
the girl whose name you can't remember.
Shut up. Arwen. Thank you.
Melkor, Robert, with Melkor.
Yes, Aragorn plus Melkor equals Gandalf. Confirmed.
Oh my god.
No, I think that it has a very deliberate purpose because he has been on the road with Eowyn this whole time, and he's being tempted with her, and then he's reminded of Arwen's commitment, Arwen's promise to him to turn mortal for him, and he's reminded of that, and that's what makes him return to Helm's Deep instead of I think that death has a purpose. I do agree that them leaving it open to the audience for a period of time is a little bit silly, but I do think that like him falling and having the visions and riding with Brago, I think that is intentional. The end stuff I'll also fight for real quick here. That is the most pure Tolkien these movies ever get, as far as environmentalism and conservation. And how Saruman used to love, he doesn't care for the trees anymore, and he's burning up these forests. I think pure Tolkien themes and storytelling don't get more pure than the end stuff in Two Towers. I also think Merry has his best scene in the whole trilogy when he's yelling at the Entmoot, and he says, "You are part of this world. You have to care. You have to fight with us." Because you may stay neutral, but they won't. You have to. You are part of this world. You are integral. Everything is a part of the world. I love that scene. I love Dominic Monaghan in that scene. It's his best scene in the trilogy. So I understand that the pacing of that and stuff, because you want to be in Helm's Deep. You want to be with Aragorn. You want to be with Frodo and Sam. But I think both of those things play a very integral part in the storytelling of the series. Back to the Future is incredible, and I really, really do love it. Like, as far as just a how to tell a damn great story, it might be one of the best movies ever made. We were talking earlier, the Johnny B. Good scene is like one of my favorite scenes in any movie ever. Like the whole movie is just incredible.
I swear you told me that like Marty making out with his mom was your favorite scene ever.
I did tell you that, but that was in privacy. No, I love Back to the Future. Two Towers, I is definitely my pick. Gollum scene talking to himself is haunting, and just the dichotomy of those characters is incredible. Sam not trusting him, Frodo seeing himself in Gollum and seeing this is what I could be if I don't succeed on my mission. God, Two Towers is so good.
Hey, hold on, Team Merry or Team Pippin? There's only one answer.
Pippin.
Thank you.
Yeah. I love I really do love Back to the Future. I think it's just a damn great movie. Two Towers is just way more important for me, and I just think
do you want to watch
a way
it after
better movie.
this?
Sure.
Okay.
We have other movies to watch too, though. Dan just fell asleep.
I wanted to go to bed a little early tonight.
We'll finish Dream Warriors, and then we'll watch Two Towers. Okay.
And the Dawkins will keep me awake.
But like Adam said as well, Gandalf's return is done very, very well. I like his ride into Helm's Deep. Yeah, Two Towers fucking rocks.
All right, Marisol.
This is Jacob. I've said fuck you before to you on this, and yet with every fiber of my being, I've never meant fuck you, Jacob, more than I mean it right now. Right? These are two 5-star films. These are two of my personally favorite films in my life. Of the few whatever plus thousands of films that I've seen, these are 5-star films. These are perfect films, and they both mean so much to me. And you did this, sir. So I want you to not sleep tonight.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified of December when like two movies that you adore go up against each other, and I'm actually going to be in the same in the same place with you all, and you're just going to be like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to go just kill him.
I'm just going to like slip some like spite. Never mind. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do. But
justice will be served.
Train.
You remember that scene where Padme is trying to sleep? And, never mind.
Have you ever seen Misery, Jacob?
No, but I'm slightly terrified.
Have you ever read the book? Because it's different.
Was it? No.
At least in the movie, he had a chance.
Every second of Back to the Future is iconic. This is one of the best examples of blockbuster filmmaking of storytelling, of pop storytelling. This is one of the best examples you could tell someone of what a film can be, and how many boxes you could check off. I mean, obviously Jurassic Park is another one, but this, if a Jurassic Park is a little too intense for you, all right, you watch something like Back to the Future, which is just like just so many playful things at work, so much brilliant, patient building storytelling, and anything that anybody can relate to and ever wonder, like, what were my parents like when they were teenagers, and what if, so much what if. And again, I agree, like, Christopher Lloyd is one of the best comedic performances I've ever seen. And I think you can verify this, I think about 4 or 5 times a week, I think about my favorite exchange in that movie, where it's just like, or it's just like, oh, hi, future boy, who's president in 1985? It's like Ronald Reagan. And he's like, Ronald Reagan, and it's just like the actor, and then he goes through Ronald Reagan's whole cabinet, and Jerry Lewis and Jane Wyman. Who's vice president? Jerry Lewis, and he goes.
Chuck Benny is the Secretary of Treasury.
Yeah,
and running with the maps.
Oh, with the maps, the frazzled hair and the map. It's just. I relive that moment. I've seen like this. I've been watching this movie for like 25 years, and I relive that scene maybe 5 times a week over in my head, because it's one of my favorite scenes ever in a film, and that is just unmatched. And Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, how perfect all these films are to me. And how monumental, how unique, and one of the most important productions in film history, I think, Peter Jackson's whole Lord of the Rings trilogy is. And Two Towers doesn't miss a beat. It really doesn't. Helm's Deep, I sound hyperbolic. This sounds hyperbolic, but it's not. I mean everything that I'm saying. I think that the Helm's Deep battle is one of the greatest, will always enter people's lists as one of the greatest battles ever filmed, one of the greatest war moments, battle moments ever filmed, ever executed. I think it just comes down to, at the end of the day, that I'm going to compare it in their respective trilogies, and The Two Towers, because I have to choose one, because thank you, Jacob. The Two Towers has a few more, if you can nitpick things in Lord of the Rings, which you can, there are more things to nitpick. There are edges out. There are more things to nitpick in The Two Towers, and I will say in Return of the King and Fellowship, which is Fellowship is virtually perfect. Two Towers, there are things to nitpick. You can nitpick Legolas like sliding down the stairs, What is happening tonight? What's with the Eagles' hay? What is happening with the Eagles' hay? I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand where Claudia is from. I don't. No. I'm not gonna allow it. I'm especially not gonna allow any Cowboys talk. But Legolas doing, I roll still sometimes when Legolas does his little surfboarder hero down the stairs. And I do agree kind of about Aragorn, but I understand its purpose in the story to push other characters, specifically the female characters, to points, because they are very concerned about a guy. But we can obviously all go on forever about this, so I'm going to shorten mine. I will get to the point. This is an impossible choice, but it's a choice that needs to be made. And Back to the Future is so important, and will, in the scheme of things, will edge out. If you can edge out one of the Lord of the Rings films, it is The Two Towers you can edge out for one of the most important, I think, iconic films ever made, which is Back to the Future. So I'm actually going to vote for Back to the Future. But it's really...
That hurt. I know that hurt.
Technicality. Yeah, I mean, I hate it, but I took this seriously, so I did it. God damn it.
All right, we're going to be real quick. What are you going?
All right, real quick, because everyone's done all the talking. So I'm just going to do it real quick. If I was going to pick one to put on right now, I'm picking Two Towers. So that gives you the deciding.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
To pick on what's going to make it.
This is going to be interesting.
It all comes down to you.
Oh, the stress.
Don't fuck this up.
Come on,
Yeah.
Oh, my pits are sweating.
Vote with your heart.
Is everyone clenched?
Yeah.
Vote with your heart.
Yeah, I
Vote
gotta
with your
go with my
thinker.
heart. I'm gonna upset 3 of yous really badly.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
literally, that's what
it's-
numbers are.
It's Two Towers. It's Two Towers.
I'm almost upset.
Dan's gonna take back everything he said about how I have good film opinion.
Lord of the Rings has representation.
Glad
You
all 3
boo.
movies can continue on. The
I'll
weakest
admit
one
it,
goes in
I'm
over
a-
an American classic.
I'm a little upset if I'm being honest.
Adventure 2 and 3 are both probably going to get to the third
The
round
thing I hate the
too.
most is that you made
No,
me
Back
go
to the
through
Future 2
all
and
of
3 are
them.
gone.
If
Yeah,
T2
everything's-
had been here,
Back to the
what would
Future.
have
3 Lord of
happened?
the Rings
Hey,
movies
no,
and no
if
Back to the
T2 had
Future.
been here, what would you have voted for? Be
T2
honest.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
Oh,
maybe.
seriously?
I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's not. So it's a moot point.
All right.
Alright.
It got worse. You made me go through all of that, Jacob. You made me all that to just kick dirt in my face.
I hate this game. Why do I do this? All right. All right. Very quickly, let's go through round 2.
Hold on. I just want to say,
I'm sorry.
I'm shocked. I'm personally shocked. I
Chest
did not
hurts.
think that's where
So
that
am
was
I,
going.
because in my because I came up when I made this bracket, I came up with the predictions of what I would think would make the top 4 of each. I had Back to the Future and I had Mask of Zorro, and both of them are already gone. So
Wow.
I voted for that.
I voted for
All
that.
right.
Anyway, all right.
What's next?
Ant-Man versus Deadpool. We don't have to be very long because we've already discussed these, and I think
Yeah.
everyone's mad at me right now. So, Mara, I'm going to start with you because I think you're less mad at me.
Should you think that?
Think.
I love both these movies, I really do, but to me it's not even a question. It's definitely Deadpool. I know I didn't vote for it in its previous round. However, against present competition, it's everything every single person said about it, and so I'm going to vote Deadpool.
Marisol?
How dare you address me?
How dare I address the
We're
court?
going to make you sleep outside on the
Could you wait? Yeah, definitely Deadpool. Definitely Deadpool. Stacking in iconic representation of the characters, and impact and panache. Deadpool.
Robert?
Yeah, Deadpool. Only one of these movies has Stan Lee saying the line, "You can't buy love, but you can rent it for an hour." Definitely Deadpool.
Dan, if you're still talking to me.
Would you please tell Jacob that I'm voting for Deadpool, because even though Ant-Man is great, Deadpool kind of transcends beyond.
Hey, Jacob, Dan wanted me to tell you that he's going to kick you square in the taint when he sees you in December.
Can I just say
People have
the
to
fact
work
that okay, I love that bit's happening because Goblet of Fire is still alive, so that bit works even better.
It's true.
Dan, message me privately. Dan will figure out how to deal with Jacob in December.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'm not happy with him either, truth be told. I really thought Back to the Future was going to go through. I would have changed my vote.
Well, good thing you didn't.
You could have.
Can I still?
No.
Okay,
No, but original vote you could have decided I'm going Back to the Future and not do Betty and not do
You gotta
Betty
come
votes.
back with me.
Pity votes don't work. Adam.
I would like to vote for Back to the Future. Thank you.
Never forget.
Man,
Okay. All right. We're all professionals, right?
no.
No. Arguable. Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool.
I just love it, everyone's so broken. Taylor.
You're a boob.
Deadpool.
I'm going to give Ant-Man its one vote so that Ant-Man does have a vote.
All right,
and everyone
Dexter,
can
really cool of you to do that.
try and get some
I voted for Ant-Man.
Now you're handing out one votes to movies.
Hey, you get to all break my heart now. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix versus Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Mara.
Yeah, I love Order of the Phoenix, but it stands amongst so many other great films, and I think Rogue One distinguishes itself so much amongst a very mixed palette of films. So I'm gonna go with Rogue One.
So okay, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything about Rogue One in the last time around because I was saving it for this matchup.
We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So very quickly because
Boo this man.
yeah, Rogue One. There is so much about Rogue One that I do really love and that works really, really well. That I think is really incredible. Visually, it is stunning. It is, I think, the best looking Star Wars movie in terms of making the world feel very real and grimy and gritty, and that this is a real place and this is a real universe. But then there is so much about it that just really annoys me. I don't love all the characters. I don't think the film does a really great job of getting you to fall in love with all the characters. And that is something that does take me out of the movie a lot. I commend Disney and the filmmakers on their ability to, on their willingness to allow the death of every character, which was incredibly shocking in a theater. Like I should have seen it coming, but I'm shocked that a studio actually allowed it. But again, there's not many movies on here that personally would beat Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix for me, because this franchise is my Star Wars. This franchise is one of the most important films, one of the most important franchise for me growing up. And so because of that, I am voting Order of the Phoenix. Robert?
So I'll just go real quick. When we were talking earlier, I didn't hear anybody say anything of meaningful negativity towards Order of the Phoenix, and we all admitted that Rogue One has faults. There is nothing in Rogue One that's as good as the duel between Dumbledore and Voldemort, and there's nothing in Order of the Phoenix that's as bad as the choke on your aspirations and the really cheesy fan service. So for that, you have to go Order of the Phoenix.
Taylor?
No, I'm going Rogue One. But thanks for playing, Robert.
Dan?
I agree with Robert. In singing the praises of Rogue One, which is a movie I really love, I pointed out several flaws, and I do not believe there are an equivalent number of flaws in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. And if we're talking about two movies that I really enjoy, I have to go with the one that I think is less flawed, and that would be Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. So that's what I'm voting for.
Marisol?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way everybody is. I was singing the praises of both of these films, and I just think I have to kind of land with which one means more personally to me. And like you said, Jacob, which fandom is a closer one to your heart? While I do love both, which one is closer to my heart? And it is Order of the Phoenix. For me, it is Harry Potter, and it is my pick between the two is Order of the Phoenix. Damn, Rogue One is a pretty special film.
You better be ready for episode 18 of Living on the Couch after this one. I'm just telling you.
Couch Chronicles TM.
Yeah.
Adam?
Yeah, so thanks for letting me get a lot of that out of my system, Jacob. Felt good. I look, I like Order of the Phoenix, but to be fair, I'm not as passionate about it as I am about the Star Wars films. And Rogue One, I think, is just a very unique, very exciting Star Wars movie. And I love the little things it sets up. I agree with Dan's criticisms of Darth Vader's other scenes, but what I do like is that we find out he has a goddamn castle. That's really cool. And he has some guy nun who caters to him and tells him when people are there. His name is Vinay, right, Robert?
Sure,
Right.
I don't know. I don't play Star Wars.
They don't say it out loud, so it's not IG.
Correct.
Oh, I disagree. Those questions are 100% in IG. I know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
They at least used to be.
Okay.
There's
Well-
been like one or two this season from Star Wars that are like that, but also that's just how Star Wars is these days in any division.
I digress. But yeah, Vinay or whomever he may be called is a funny little lackey in a funny costume. But I really like the castle thing. But I like the movie overall, and Star Wars is just special to me, so I vote for Rogue One.
And with that, and with that,
With that, you've broken all my hopes and dreams, and I hope you're happy.
So
I
my
love
vote,
you.
My vote doesn't matter, right?
Otto the Phoenix makes it through,
Yeah.
which I was not expecting whatsoever.
Every vote matters.
All right, next up we have Batman 89 versus War for the Planet of the Apes. I think this is the show that broke Dan. I really think this might have been the one that broke Dan, and I think a lot of people. And that this was Marisol, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Blah, 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 blah. You can call what I look. I'm gonna stick by my same reasons as before. This is all this is actually honestly pointing to me is that I really am overdue for a rewatch of Batman 89 because I need a fresh perspective. I need to upgrade, maybe upgrade, so I think I'm a little stale with my reverence and my fondness and my memories and my looking back on the objective cultural impact. I'm gonna rewatch Batman 89. That's on my rewatch list, and I'm gonna vote for it over Planet of the Apes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Not sorry.
Taylor.
Yes, concur.
Okay.
Approved.
89. Dan.
I would like to point out in our discussions of this film, I don't believe that the name Danny Elfman has yet been uttered. He wrote one of the best scores of all time. With Batman
Yes.
89. One of the best superhero themes of all time. I'm incapable of voting with anything but my heart on this one, and I have to vote for Batman.
All right. Robert.
This one's tough, actually. I like Batman 89 a lot. I don't think I accurately reflected the small problems that I do have with it. I don't love everything Nicholson is doing as the Joker. I think Kim Basinger's character is very underwritten. She's doing what she can with what she has, but she could have more. I think the Batman suit is limited by the time, but the fact that he has to, I know it's iconic. I'm just saying that
You have to sleep here tonight.
I'm going to vote more for the Planet of the Apes, but I'm going to leave it at that. So Dan doesn't murder me.
This is more
Adam?
intense than my goddamn
I would-
championship match. Jesus
I would like
Christ.
to say there's one person among us defending you. Just one. So there you go.
There's one person. Thank you for that sole person, but
I beg to differ because Two Towers wiped out Terminator 2 and Back to the Future, and as much as I love the Two Towers,
On a warpath, keep it going.
Robert's gonna be real mad in a bit.
Jacob, it's utter malarkey. But with this, look, I think I really like what everyone has said about War for the Planet of the Apes. It is a really, really good movie. And but Batman 89 is it's a watershed moment, in movies, both culturally and personally, and so I would like to see it move ahead, please. Thank you,
Mara.
If I have to look at these two movies and create a Venn diagram, they have so much in common. The overlap is enormous. They both have gorgeous scores. They both have interesting, gorgeous aesthetics, though very different. They have wonderful, amazing performances that were unrecognized in any official capacity. And
Robert Wool thanks you for that.
Can I get a grant?
anyways, the only thing that one of these movies has over the
Hello,
other,
Legs.
and it's the only reason why I'm going to pick it, is because it has something to say. And so I'm going to pick War for the Planet of the Apes because it is saying something with all of the things that it's doing. And also, Jacob, they open the borders, so you better watch yourself.
I'm coming to your country. Like, I'm inviting myself to
Yeah, you invited
just
yourself,
danger.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm inviting myself to danger. This is not gonna end well.
Yeah, this man is dangerous.
That's right. Jacob. I am dangerous.
I am also voting for Batman 89 because of every other. It's Batman 89. Like, as great and as much as I love War for the Planet of the Apes, it's Batman 89. There are very few films on this list that will beat it. So I am voting Batman 89. Oh, man. All right. And lastly,
Ugh, I hate this. I want to go home.
Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire versus Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers.
You know what my vote is, but I should
Fuck
probably
you,
leave the room and
Jacob.
cry because it's not going to make it through. So
I'm
I'm just going to sob a lot.
I'm going to make Robert cry as well. So, Robert, which one would you like?
Why me first?
Because I don't want everyone else's vote to influence your decision.
because you were so
No.
gleeful about that Back to the Future
no.
bullshit.
Yeah,
I was.
All right.
Just as much of a
Jacob's
trial,
the
I think.
equivalent.
So, based on the
quarterback
transitive
guy.
property, both of these are. We would vote both of these better than Back to the Future, and I would vote both of these over Back to the Future. Fuck! Why'd you come to me first? This is terrible.
I mean, I went first, actually.
Yeah, technically Taylor
What
did.
did Taylor
But
say?
I said Goblet of Fire, and I'm going to go cry because it's not going to make it through.
You know what?
That
No,
was my statement.
Taylor. I'm also gonna say Goblet of Fire.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mara. I don't.
What
do it on
is
purpose.
what kind of coup is this?
all right, I'm taking this. If you're saying Goblet of, so you're saying Goblet of
I'm
Fire.
gonna say Goblet
Cool.
of Fire.
I'm taking this completely out of my hands. It is all up to you guys. I am saying Goblet of Fire as well. If anyone, so
I hate everything
Oh
about
my
this film, though.
Well, I mean, we know what Marisol's going to vote for. It's done.
Mara, which one would you like?
Okay. This is going to surprise a lot of people.
Oh no.
If I really had to say which one I would, if there were any other circumstances by which this matchup happened, I would say The Two Towers. But honestly, fuck that movie because it got you out of here and voted Goblet of Fire.
This is a coup. This is a coup.
Oh, revenge is the dish best served cold.
Very cool in space.
I'm sorry. I know that is a stupid amount of reasoning, but it killed T2, and I don't forgive it.
I stab my last breath.
I told you that was- oh my god.
Dan.
What is happening?
I ruined everything, and I'm
I was gonna
sorry.
pick. I was gonna pick two. I'm
No,
still
you
gonna
were
pick
not.
the Two Towers.
Yeah,
Yes, I was.
yes,
Yes, I
you
was.
was. Yes,
I
you
was
was.
gonna pick
Oh
Two Towers.
my
So I'm still picking
God.
Two
I should have
Towers.
fucking.
Why did I ruined both rounds?
She's done it
Game of
twice.
Thrones.
Oh,
All right.
Adam.
Well,
Adam.
This is the
Broke
red
Adam.
wedding moment of this bracket. That's what this feels like. The Two Towers, please. Rob, they're gonna stab you in the chest. Go somewhere else.
Marisol.
I don't know what happened. In just one fell swoop, we are somehow going to lose Back to the Future, and then now The Two Towers, a film that
I
beat
hear
Back
the
to
reins
the
of
Future.
Castamere.
I don't know what kind of
Yeah.
fuckery this is. I didn't know I was in Bizarro land.
I mean, I didn't.
But I just like that, it has happened, and
I mean,
This-
why? How could you guys not vote? Why would you not vote for Two Towers in this situation?
This
I
is
don't
my
understand.
cosmic
No,
karma.
they're
for-
right. Two Towers.
This is my cosmic karma for
Is it
Rogue
too
One
late
getting
for me to
kicked
say I'm
out.
not
I've changed the vote. I set the precedent and changed the vote in a previous episode. Point of order.
No, nope, it's not allowed. Nope,
Yes,
no,
We were drunk.
yes.
no, it's not
We were
allowed.
drunk.
This is my show. It's not allowed.
So
No.
if I'm drunk, then I can change it.
Nope, it's not being changed.
The hosts were
Nope.
drunk.
Nope, it's not being changed.
Because I don't feel good about anything I
Well,
just did.
Jacob, that sounds like a you problem.
We're not changing the votes.
It can-
Don't worry. Okay, next
Nope.
week, next week it goes up against Batman '89. So yeah, good luck with that
Oh,
one. Sorry,
well,
Robert.
Either way,
Okay, I'm actually okay with that then.
And thus my long game comes.
Two Towers would have gone up against
Two
89.
Towers should
So
go on. Two Towers can beat Batman '89.
Why?
No.
Why?
No.
I don't understand. I just don't understand why this corner of the bracket is worse than the quadrant of death in the singles tournament. I don't understand what. I don't understand.
Oh,
so with
yeah,
that,
I don't pay
Goblet of
attention to
Fire.
anything on Throwdown anymore.
This is so.
we have
I-
lost a Lord of the Rings movie.
I
am
regret that
genuinely
so
shocked
much.
by
I don't
that.
feel good about
Jacob,
that. I'm
I'm literally gonna
and
slap
Mount
you with a fish across your face.
The impulsiveness of youth.
That
I
was
wanna see that
impulsiveness.
so
Yeah,
bad.
that was totally impulsiveness. That was going along with Taylor and thinking about Fleur Delacour
Well, dude,
instead of
You're in your 20s.
being
You are still susceptible
smart.
to peer pressure, man. It's
yeah.
okay.
That was not okay.
You'll grow up.
There's literally no comparison between those movies. I don't.
There
understand.
isn't. There
I
isn't.
I
No,
don't
the
understand what
Mary
just
scene. The Mary scene at the end mood is better than anything. In
Yeah, it was such a
Goblet
great
of Fire.
speech. It didn't work.
No,
No,
no.
it is.
Him clinging to Cedric's lifeless body
No.
as people pull him away is better than that. It really
Yeah,
is.
it is. Yeah.
Now I love Two
I
Towers.
agree
It's not
Two
as good
Towers
as
is
Gollum's.
amazing.
It's not as good as Gollum's Lake scene.
So
So what
okay.
do we have coming up next week?
So I'm just gonna very quickly, before everyone murders me, remind
next
you of
week?
why you're gonna murder me next week.
Hooray!
That was-
Okay, there's some easier ones. Some easier ones. Actually, next week's actually like
Oh.
very easy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, good.
Sure.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Oh
That's
man,
interesting.
actually, next week is.
Oh, come on. That's easy for me.
This is the hardest one.
No.
Oh yeah.
That's the hardest
That's
out
tough.
of next. So next, yeah, the next
Next
bracket.
week we're gonna chill. a
Next
bit.
week's a chill, and I won't have people want to murder me. Guys, I had one movie make it through to that I thought would, so I'm shocked by that, guys. Yeah, this is the one where you all want to definitely kill me.
I actually think people are probably more angry at me because technically I'm the linchpin to everything going wrong. Although I would like to blame everyone that also didn't let T2 go through because that really started it all. That was where we went into
That
the darkest timeline.
That was the fracture.
But no, technically it's my fault, Jacob. It's not your fault.
Thank you guys so much for joining. I've never seen the look of so many defeated faces
Goblet of Fire.
than right now. Next week should be a lot of fun, and I really want to thank everyone for joining
Well,
us.
we'll see if anyone decides to come back next week after what just happened.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much, guys. And everyone's link is in the description down below. And I just want to thank everyone for taking their time and doing this show for us. And yeah, that was a lot of fun to a degree, maybe.
This is the Red Wedding episode.
Oh my god! No, I want to watch
man.
The Goblet of Fire going through was
Talisa.
I was just about to say
Rob?
Lady Stark's throat being cut.
Oh yeah.
That was the throat cutting moment of the episode.
Oh man, guys, thank you so much for watching us, and thank you so much for joining this week, guys.
thanks to everyone in the chat who hung out
Yeah.
and who also had their dreams crushed this week.
What?
Come back next week. We'll do it again.
Yeah, come next week. Next week's a nice palate cleanser until someone decides that they really love one movie that shouldn't go through or something. So, all right, guys, thank you. We will see you next week. Bye.